And then we went up hiking mountains and rivers, and she took me everywhere. She just poured her soul into making sure that I was well. We shared a lot of stories that we can celebrate over another. But what happened was I came here saying, my God, this life is also possible. There's somebody who cooks and prays into food, who pours their whole heart into making anything the way she does everything. There's a saying that how we do one thing is how we do everything. So she was walking with love. She was cooking with love. She was swimming with love. And she was giving and giving and giving. And it was so inspirational for me to see as a human being and as a professional. So when I came back to Boston, I started a journey of healing. But as we know, these journeys of healing aren't always progress, right? We don't always go, oh, okay, I'm just starting a new life and that's it. I'm changed overnight. It's a journey. But today, I'm happy to say that I have not had any acid reflux symptoms, which was on its way to killing me, truly on its way to killing me. It was terrible. Many people suffer from this. Aaron's going to talk about this. I am just so elated and happy that I have more energy and more love and caring and contribution to make. So I'm going to just go over what this means and how this started out. So what we're doing is Brian just posted, Brian Walsh is our community service project coordinator. The way this all started out was about 30 plus beautiful souls in a leadership program called Boston Breakthrough Academy. We're going to post that one as well, bostonbreakthroughacademy.com, came together and they said, well, we're going to go on a journey of leadership. We didn't know each other back then. We were strangers to each other. And so the program is made up of discovery, breakthrough, and leadership. So discovery is where we looked into ourselves, breakthrough is when we made breakthroughs, and leadership is contribution. So what I'm fast forwarding 3 months. It's the length of a semester. I'm fast forwarding 2.5 months, 3 months. This past month, we declared a community service project. And that community service project has to do with a local organization called Lovin' Spoonfuls, an organization that continues to feed over 160 nonprofits. And we have raised in the last month, brace yourselves, these strangers to each other several months ago, we have raised over $70,000. Every dollar feeds 3 people with the matching donation. So this past month, 400,000 people got to eat because 30 people said so. I repeat, over 400,000 people got to eat because 30 people said so. These were not people who necessarily believed in themselves. These were not necessarily people who actually necessarily thought that they had a voice. I was one of them. Even as successful as I was in certain areas of my life, I was a failing in many others. So this is so much joy for me, and I want to share this with you, and I want to invite you to the same. When we switched everything from the scarcity mentality to an abundance mentality, everything shifted. And Erin's going to talk about that as well. She lives it. I've seen it, her live it. So we're going to post the link here in a minute. Sasha, Brian, you guys feel free to post my link. I can post it here as well. And the fundraising link, we're going to post it. Brian, can you post the link for Lovin' Spoonfuls itself, which is the main website? And I'm going to share with everyone here the link to donate. So
I'll do that straight away, Jim.
Brian, you're the best. Your video, by the way, the beautiful video that you've prepared, we're going to post it on social media because we haven't been able to. I just posted the charity GoFundMe page. I personally declared $10,000 and raised about $7,000 to date. But what's most important is what the team, when you go to the team section there, you're going to find over $70,000 of donations. We're declaring $100,000. And when we get there, 600,000 people will be fed. And we have a grander vision. We have a grander vision. Hopefully we'll be able to put Lovin' Spoonfuls out of business, so there won't be any hunger. There won't be homelessness. There are about 12,000 homeless people in the street of Massachusetts. And there's 7 million people. Those 7 million people can totally embrace in a blanket of love those 7,000 people. And Massachusetts can lead other states, Missouri and Alabama and Montana and California and other states, in wiping out homelessness and in wiping out hunger. So thank you all very much. I'm going to just go over some items of housekeeping. We'll post all the appropriate links. If you're not speaking, please mute. So actually, I'm going to record this one. Oh, we are recording. That's awesome. Okay, we're recording. That's awesome. Thank you. And then if we can live stream, that's okay. That's great. If you don't want to be on video, feel free. But you know what? We all know what you look like. So please stay on with your pajamas, with whatever, just the way you are. We love you just the way you are. And so Sasha DeRosier, my lovely teammate here, is helping out. Rosanna Jimenez has been tremendously helpful. We have a whole online events team. We'll be hosting other events and bringing them to you. We have a pet pageant tomorrow, Sunday at 4 p.m. I'm going to share that on social media as well. A pet pageant, you can enter your pets into it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll have Q&A at the end. The last 30 minutes will be dedicated to Q&A. And we have a silent auction as well. Brian, if you can post the silent auction items, those are also extremely helpful. And if someone can post the Boston Breakthrough Academy's website as well, you'll have plenty of material. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to pass the microphone on to the very wonderful, loving, caring, beautiful, embracing friend and teacher, Erin Aquarius. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Jem, you're so sweet. You're going to make me cry. And I'm glad you accept us how we are, because I just realized my shirt's on inside out, but I'm glad it's okay. So my name is Erin. I'm so excited to be here and to be able to share with you. During a time like this, it feels like such a magical, transformational time on the earth. You know, with the virus, with the pandemic, with quarantine, it can bring up a lot of fears and a lot of emotions are stirred. And so it's really potent time to work on ourselves, to elevate our frequency, to stay in our heart, and to come together as community and to share our gifts and our wisdom and to support each other, to elevate and to stay in the love space so that we can really create this beautiful earth. So it's a really powerful time, you guys. And I'm so proud of you, Jem, for all that you and your team have done. It's so beautiful. And you're like light workers, just showing the way of how to really take it to the next place. So my name is Erin, everyone. I am a yoga and meditation teacher. I'm an energy healer and a holistic health coach. I'm based in Hawaii, but I'm currently in Goa, India. I specialize in gut health and detoxing. And I work with busy professionals around the world and help them to balance their digestive health, gain more energy, lose weight, and just create a delicious and nutritious life through simple and practical lifestyle shifts. So I have been blessed to travel the world and spend time with healers in Bali and in India and in Thailand. And so I learned so many tools and tricks, and I love to share them with my clients and with you all today. And so today we're going to begin with, we're going to do a few little exercises, and then I'm going to take you through a guided meditation of the chakras. So even if you aren't familiar with the chakras, it's just fun to visualize. We're going to go journey up through our spine and visualize colors, and I'll talk about what each one of them represent. And then we'll discuss gut health and the immune system. And then I want to give you some tools to optimize your health, to supercharge your gut and boost your immune system. And then we'll have a little time for question and answer, just like Jem had mentioned. So let's get going. So let's go ahead. If you guys are all seated, let's just start massaging our scalp for a second. And just move the skin around your head. And so we learn in life, you know, it's really about the simple things that we do. It's the little things that we do all the time. So we can learn these little tricks that can really support us to elevate and to bring our energy and be grounded. And then we'll come down to the temples and just massage those temples and really give a good pressure here. You know, especially in the modern day, there's so much go, go, go. And now we're able to really slow down and tune into our health, into our body. And so these little things can help us to ground into our body. And then let's come over to the ears and massage those ears. So the ears have a little pressure point in the body that touch every part of the body. So if you can't get someone to give you a massage, you can massage your whole body just by massaging your ears. So wiggle them around. You can pull them, stretch them out. It's just cartilage. So the tougher you are, the better it'll feel when you let them go. And then you can release and stretch your jaw, move your jaw around. And you can massage the jaw. Jaw is a really powerful, big bone in the body. And whether you've been eating a lot, Jem's been eating pizza and cake all morning trying to give me a heart attack, or we've been talking a lot. So we carry a lot of tension in the jaw, and you might start to notice it now as you're touching it. And then we can just drop the head down and do a few little neck rolls. And this simple little movement helps to bring more energy up into the brain. And it's really these simple things that we can incorporate. And then other direction. And if you find a tight spot, you can hold it there and just breathe into it. And then come up to center. And I want to teach you one little thing for memory. So keep your head straight, and you're going to take your eyeballs and look up, like you're trying to look up to the rooftop of your head. You might feel some strain or some tension in the eyes, the windows to the soul. And then look down. So look all the way down. Keep your head straight like you're trying to look inside your heart. And then look left, like you want to look over your left shoulder. So this supports memory and brain function. And then we'll look over to the right. Don't turn your head, Jem, just your eyes. Now look straight up, and then we're gonna roll the eyes in a complete 360 degrees all the way to the edges. Come all the way down and go all the way up. And really strain those eyes. It helps to release tension. We take in so much energy through what we see. And then once you get to the top, roll the other direction. And then squeeze them closed and open them wide. Squeeze them closed, open them wide. Are they on straight? Let's just do some shoulder lifts. So lift it up and then drop them. Just lift it up, squeeze it, and drop. So we carry so much tension from the past, from ancestral and burdens of time and space in our shoulders. This can help to move energy and to release tension. Lift those shoulders, Jem. I see you. And let's roll them a little bit. Roll the shoulders back. And then forward. We're all at different times here. Some of you just woke up. Over in India, it's nighttime. Beautiful. And then with our hands down, I'm sitting down on the ground, but if you're in a chair, your hands might be on your knees. And inhale and just throw your chest forward. And then exhale and open the back of your heart. So as you inhale, you open the front of your heart, pull the arms back. And as you exhale, pull the arms forward and tighten your belly. So this helps to open up the spine. Well, one of my favorite teachers in India was 104 years old. And he says, you're as old as your spine is flexible. This is one of the simplest ways to wake up the spine and balance the energy. And we're going to do a little more of that with that chakra meditation. And then inhale, lift it up. So let's sit up nice and straight. And let's bring our palms down onto our knees, facing down for a bit of grounding energy. We're going to begin by closing the eyes. Everyone's hearing me okay? Okay. So close the eyes. Just begin to relax the muscles in your body. Maybe you want to just get familiar with the energy in the room that you're in. Feeling the air on your skin. Maybe any little noises in the background. And then shifting the focus to your body. And starting at the head, just walk the way down and give a little scan of the body, moving down through the face. And just observing here without judging. Noticing any tightness or any sensations. Down into the shoulders, in the chest. Feel your heartbeat. Down into the ribs, into your core and your belly. How do you feel in your belly? Down into the hips and the sexual organs, down the thighs and the knees, down the legs and the feet. And let's bring our awareness now fully to the breath, allowing the thoughts and the noises in the room to become like white water in the background. And if you aren't already, I invite you to breathe through your nose. It helps to activate Ujjayi breath. It's a yoga cleansing breath. Just observing the subtle inhalations and exhalations. Our breath is the closest thing to us. It's one of the greatest tools that we have, shifting energy simply by conscious breathing. Notice if you're breathing shallow in your chest. Notice if your ribs move as you breathe. And see if you can bring that awareness all the way into the belly. Gently inviting the breath to slow down and deepen. And now bringing the awareness to the base of the spine, the root chakra. And feel at the coccyx bone, feel the energy where you're connected to the earth. And we're going to focus here at the base of the spine. And the color here is red. So we're going to go through the rainbow. So we're going to visualize the color red at the root of the spine and continue to breathe it in. So as we inhale, we draw the light in. As we exhale, we release tension, we release fear, we release doubt. The root chakra is called Muladhara. It's the root, it's the foundation. It's our connection to Mother Earth. Basic needs of survival, like food and water. It's our connection to family, to our career, to all things in the physical, three-dimensional reality. These basic needs must be met in order to climb higher. So just continue to focus on this beautiful, vibrant red color at the root of the spine, Muladhara. This is where we store fear. And just noticing what you notice without judging. And one more deep breath into the root, drawing in as much light as you're ready to receive. And exhale to release and to let go. And let's now follow that energy up into the hips, into the sacral, the sexual organs and the kidney. And here the color is orange. Beautiful, vibrant orange. And you might see a sphere of orange light within and around the hips. And as you inhale, visualize that you draw in more of this beautiful orange light, healing and cleansing any impurities, any stuck energy. At the sacral, the chakra is called Svadhisthana. So at the root, we all have the same basic needs as a human. But as we move into the second chakra, we all have our own uniqueness, our own unique gifts, our own unique sensuality and sexuality, creative juices. It's the element of water, the ability to go with the flow. It's also where we store shame and guilt. So continue with breath and with your imagination to draw in this healing orange light. And just one more breath here at the sacral. And then we lift the energy up into the belly. And here's the core chakra. We're going to talk a lot about that today. And here the color is a beautiful golden yellow like the sun. So maybe you can just visualize this golden sunlight filling up your belly and your organs. And with each breath, continue to draw in more of this healing light. The core chakra is called Manipura. It literally translates to the city of lustrous gems. That inner glow, reflecting the outer glow. This chakra is our power center, the storehouse of our energy, our confidence, self-esteem, ambition in life, the ability to take action and focus. When the core chakra is weakened or dimmed, we feel stuck. We feel confused. We might feel more anxious or depressed. It's the element of fire. In Ayurveda, the digestion is called the Agni. It's the digestive fire. Just as the body transforms food into energy, our ability to transform, to let go of old patterns and old habits that are no longer serving the greater good. Use the breath to draw in more light. Exhale to release any resistance, any doubt. And with the next inhalation, we'll draw that light up into the heart. I want to surround now the heart and the lungs and the shoulders with this beautiful emerald green light. And even the arms and the fingers are an extension of the heart, our ability to give and to receive. Notice how it feels in your chest, in the back of your heart. Still breathing deep into the belly, focusing on this beautiful healing green light. The heart chakra is called Anahata. And this translates from Sanskrit into unstruck or untouched. Beneath the barriers and the mask we wear is a pure heart. A heart that wants to give, a heart that wants to be open to receive. Sharing our love and gifts with the world. The heart chakra is about compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. And forgiveness always starts with ourselves. Every day is a new day. Every moment is a new moment. This moment is all we have, is all we need. Just a few more breaths into the heart to really sink into that eternal love. And with the next inhalation, let's lift that energy up into the throat, right at the thyroid gland. And here the color is a beautiful electric blue. So you can visualize a little sphere of light within and around your throat chakra. And as you breathe, visualize that you draw in more of this light, cleansing and purifying, letting go of what you're ready to let go of. The throat chakra is called Vishuddhi. It's voice, expression, where thoughts become words, sound and music. It's our connection to our mission here on earth. Why are we here? What are we here to do? What do we stand for? What is our role on this planet? When the throat chakra is open, we feel connected to this mission and to this purpose. Just 2 more breaths into the throat. And see the light expand. And if you're wondering if you're doing it right, you are. Playing with the imagination, or creativity. 1 more breath into the throat. And then let's draw that energy up into the 3rd eye chakra. This is a space between the eyebrows at the forehead, called Ajna chakra. 3rd eye center. And here it's a beautiful light purple. So you can visualize a little sphere of light right there at your pituitary gland, master hormone gland in the body. Maybe you see a beam of light coming from out in front and above you into this space in the body. Our thoughts, our mind, our intuition. Is our connection to spiritual psychic energy, our ability to read minds. Sometimes we think of someone and then they call us. As human beings, we all have these spiritual psychic gifts. But in many people, they lie dormant, waiting to be untapped, awakened. Through focusing the light here, we begin to open and to explore this potential. Using this light to cleanse any impurities in our thoughts, releasing negative thought patterns. And 1 more breath here into Ajna chakra. And a strong exhalation to release. And then we'll shift that light all the way up to the crown of the head, the crown chakra. So see if you can find the space between the skull and the brain. There's a pineal gland. And here it's a more dark, vibrant amethyst purple. So you can see this light maybe coming down from above, or maybe you see it coming from 360 degrees. A little sphere of light seated at the crown, called Sahaswara chakra. Spiritual awakening. It's our connection to universal truth, to source, to creator, to the angels, to our guides, our ability to receive visions, clarity on our mission from a higher place. Continue to draw this light in with breath, inviting a more clear connection with thee. Sahaswara chakra is symbolized by the 1,000-petaled lotus. As there is no final destination, a continuous journey of awakening, of expanding, of flourishing, of opening like a beautiful lotus flower. And one more breath, draw in this light. And exhale any resistance to connect to what is true, to your potential. And now we're just going to visualize a little white light spiraling above our body. And this will help to cleanse any residue from the practice. So watch this light as it spins above your head. And with the next inhalation, begin to draw that light down in through the crown of your head. And watch this light as it spirals through your mind and your brain, through the muscles of your face, down into the throat, and the chest and the heart and the lungs, down the arms and shooting out the fingertips. And watch that light as it comes down the throat, into the heart, into the chest, down through the ribs. Use your imagination. Bring the light into your body, down into the core, spiraling through your organs, seeing them light and happy and flourishing, vibrant. Down into the lower belly, into the hips, and the sexual organs, the coccyx bone, down through the thighs, the back of the thighs, into the kneecaps, down the legs, all the way into the feet and shooting out the bottom of the feet. And now the body is so full of this light that it begins to spill out to the space around us, as if we're laying in a little bubble of healing light, feeling safe, feeling protected, feeling expansive. And now we're going to expand that light a little bit bigger to your entire house, wherever you are. And just see this white light all around your house or your building, all the people in it, sharing this healing light with your neighbors and your family. And let's expand even bigger to the city that you're in. So the entire city of Boston or Mumbai, wherever you are. And let's go even bigger to the entire state. Sending love and healing energy to all the people in the state where you are. And we're going to expand even bigger to the entire country. Surrounding the country and the people and the animals and the land and the water and the air with this healing light. And we're going to go even bigger if you can and surround the entire planet with this healing light. And watch it as it spirals through like magical fairy dust. See all people eating well, having clean water. The animals are thriving and free. Humans working together and coming together in loving communities, breathing fresh air. Uplifting the frequency, the energy of Mother Earth. Living in harmony with what is true, with what is meant to be. And one more breath as you share your open heart with the world. And as you exhale, draw that light back into your country. And back into your state. Back into your city. To your beautiful home or building. And draw that light back into your body. And bring your left hand onto your heart and your right hand on top of it. knowing the true power of love that can move mountains, can heal villages, can feed the homeless. And one more deep breath in as you really sink into that. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and become familiar with the room that you're in and the space around you. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining in this beautiful meditation where we can share love and healing with the world. And most of life is out of our control. And as human beings, we're control freaks and we want to control everything. But there are only a few things that we can control, and those are the things we can focus on. And that's what we do with our energy, where we focus our energy, what we put in our bodies. And so I want to give you some tips today that you can start integrating in. And, you know, some will resonate with you and you'll love them forever, and other ones you'll never want to do it, and that's okay. We're all so unique, and so we have to find our unique medicine, our unique soul juice, whatever nourishes us on a deep level. So why gut health? My journey for many years, even as an organic healthy nut, a daily yoga teacher, and living in Hawaii, I was still ill. I felt like I had a bowling ball in my belly. I suffered from many symptoms. I was covered in eczema. I had inflammation. I had intense hormonal imbalance. My hair didn't grow for about 7 years. And people would say, oh, you cut your hair. Nope, didn't cut my hair. Oh, you cut your hair again. Nope, didn't cut it. My hair just like stayed. I just kind of accepted the universe wanted my hair at a certain length. I had candida. I had intense mood swings. And then I found out I had parasites and worms. And I finally realized that the issues all stemmed from my gut. And the medicines I was given weren't fixing the problem. They were like Band-Aid approaches that were soothing the symptoms for a little while, only for them to pop up later even worse. And so I got really passionate to dive deeper into gut health, into gut healing, and I had to go through every cleanse in the book. And so it led me to becoming a health coach and supporting my clients to do the same. And Hippocrates said it the best, that 90% of illness begins in the gut. And did you know that, you know, for a country that is so developed, that 75% of Americans are overweight and 45% of Americans are obese? It is no secret that millions of Americans are suffering from chronic illnesses and diseases and pains that root in the gut. And what is the gut? The gut is a magical place. It is the true determinant of our overall health. It's considered the second brain, and it's also called the lost organ. The gut is made up of trillions of cells called the microbiome. It's bacteria that's basically alive, and it lines the intestinal walls, and it plays tons of roles in our health. And so to be healthy and balanced, we want to have more of the good guys than the bad guys. And what happened with me, the bad guys took over. And then they create little parties and they build cities in my body and they're draining my energy. And then it leads to all these symptoms. So when the digestion is compromised, numerous symptoms can occur. And the immune system, how does that connect with the gut? 70 to 80% of our immune cells live in the gut, in the digestive tract. And this goes from the mouth down the 30-foot journey to the anus. So 70 to 80% of your immune system, your immune cells, live in this gut area. So I'll talk today about immune or gut, but they really work together as everything's connected. And so some of the symptoms that we might see from gut imbalance would be like I had skin issues, hormonal imbalances, intense cravings, especially sugar. I was completely addicted to sugar. Food intolerances. All of a sudden I couldn't eat gluten. Then I thought maybe I was celiac, but I just didn't have the enzymes to break it down. I had anxiety. I was a nutcase. I was going in and out of depression, chronic fatigue. I didn't want to get out of bed, constant belly bloat. And a lot of people will gain weight around the belly, especially organs. Some people have sleep disorders, really intense PMS, pains from cramps. You know, this is not normal. We should be able to enjoy having our period. It's like the moon cycle. It's honoring womanhood and femininity, and to enjoy that time of softening and dropping into the body, and not just shoving something up there and running out the door or having all this pain. It's really meant to be a nurturing time to the body. Also menopause, you know, we can slide right into our 50s, 60s, 70s feeling fabulous. We don't have to get sick. So we're going to go through 7 things to help you supercharge your gut and optimize your health. And the first one, I'm sure everyone can guess, is nutrition. As we have such a sacred relationship to food. Food is medicine. Food is fuel. Food is energy. While food isn't everything, it's essential to eat a nourishing diet in order to thrive. And we're here to thrive. When we're thriving, we tap into our passions and our power, and we're able to give. You know, if we're too tired, how can we really give our energy? How can we come home and put food on the table and give so much love in that food? How can we have fun, wild sex in the bedroom if we're just exhausted by the end of the day? So everything is connected. It begins to affect our sex life, our relationships, our career. We aren't able to show up as our vibrant self when we're suffering from some sort of gut dysbiosis, which is basically an imbalance in the gut bacteria. And so we've all heard the saying, we are what we eat. Literally everything we eat breaks down and becomes our tissues. It becomes our cells, our skin, our nails. Our body is basically a compilation of everything we ingest: food, thoughts, water, all of it. And so here are some things that you can integrate into your daily routine to really optimize your health and your immune system. And it's really important to understand bioindividuality. And I mentioned this before, that it's not the same for all. So there's no 2 clients that I've been given the same detoxes, because it depends on your age. It depends on your goals, your desires. It depends on your unique symptoms. What are you suffering from? You know, one thing I notice in common is that people lack energy, but then when it comes to the other symptoms, they can really vary. And so bioindividuality is really key, bioindividuality. And so exploring and experiment with new things and see how it works. And if it doesn't, throw it out the window. But try it out and see what works. So one of the first most important things that is to source locally and organic when possible. So nature is magical, and what is growing where you are is what is going to give you and nourish you at that time. For instance, I'm in Goa. The weather is literally 97 degrees during the day. So there are tons of mangoes and coconuts and limes. I need a lot of that citrus. We need to stay super hydrated. Where if you're over there in Boston or Maryland and there's snow on the ground, you probably have more potatoes and beets and root vegetables to ground you and to soothe. So it's really important to pay attention to the seasons and the cycles and eat what's growing locally. And when you go into the stores, you know, there's tons of veggies, and some are shipped in from Mexico and some are shipped in from Canada. And even in India, we have food shipped from Belgium, which blew my mind. But you really want to find what's growing locally, because that's the magic of nature. You know, food is medicine. What's around you is what you want to eat. And in this fast-paced world, we've gotten so disconnected to nature that we eat for convenience. We open up packages. We don't even know where our food comes from. We don't even know how it's grown. I just learned how a cashew comes. I didn't even know how a cashew grew on a tree, and a big nut with a fruit, and they make alcohol out of this fruit. And I mean, it's so much work just for one cashew. In America, we can just go pop a package and dump the whole pack, and you have no idea what these people went through. So giving some love to the farmers. And so pesticides, when we're not eating organic, now not everything needs to be organic, but for things like potatoes or things that are sprayed heavily, zucchinis, apples, cucumbers, pesticides. What are pesticides? They're fabulous at what they do. They kill bugs. What's the difference between a bug and a human? Size. We're basically a giant bug. So those pesticides are slowly going to kill us. Those little bugs are smaller. They'll die instantly. But as humans, it'll just slowly over time. And it basically kills that microbiome in the gut. So it causes more dysbiosis. So eat seasonally, you guys. Try to find more organic food. Those pesticides are completely disrupting your endocrine system and throwing off your hormones. And they can literally make you a moody biatch. Okay, so the food you eat affects your mood. Secondly, we can join a CSA. If we haven't heard of a CSA, it's a community support agricultural. And you can go to organicharvest.org, no matter where you are in the world. At least I know it's good in the US. It's called organicharvest.org. And you can look up and find a CSA near you. And typically they'll charge you $20 a week. And you go there and you pick up a box of whatever they have growing. You get to meet your farmers. They're magical people who spend their lives devoted to growing organic food and to figuring out how to do it without pesticides and to grow it naturally and to work with the soil. You know, a big problem that we have is the soil has just been depleted with all cash crops. They have like millions of acres of just wheat or corn or soy, and then there's no nutrients in the soil. So then when you get your food, it looks like beautiful lettuce, but there's not much in there anymore, because the nutrients come from the soil. So when you get to meet your farmers and they're growing it organic, they are taking care of the soil, and there's so much more nutrient dense food from these magical beings. So I invite you guys to look up a CSA. If you don't have organic stores near you, and again, you don't have to be fully organic. Something like an avocado or an onion doesn't really matter if it's organic. But things like zucchinis and potatoes, and I can send a list out they're called the Dirty Dozen. There's 12 things that are super no-nos and need to be organic. And for the rest, it's okay. You know, avocado has a thick skin, so you can see it like that. Bugs don't come and eat your avocados. You want to think of which ones the bugs attack, especially like greens. So number 3, let's use some herbs and spices. Herbs and spices are a powerful way to get nutrient dense, to add nutrient density to your food. It's so easy. It's so simple. Parsley, cilantro, coriander, cumin. You know, India feels like the magical place when it comes. They're the masters of food. The way that they eat, I'm so blown away by it. The spices they use, the timing of the day that they eat. You know, in America, we just rush. And here I went to the store today at 12 and the guy's shooing me out of the store. He said he's closing. I said, man, I just buying a new yoga mat and he's kicking me out. And by the way, the best $5 I ever spent on a yoga mat. But they're going to take their lunch break, you know, so they wake up early, they eat a little breakfast, and lunch is a meal, and then they go and they rest, and they allow time for rest and digest, which in America, we eat on the run, we eat fast while we're on our phone writing emails, and then we're back at work. So India, not only with the food and the spices, but also with the timing of the day. And so I'm really impressed with India with that. But I invite you to explore spices. You know, if you don't know what it is, try it out. Exotic spices, the more variety in your diet, which is the next one, eating variety. You know, we tend to get in routine. Humans, we're creatures of habit, and we start to eat the same shit over and over. Not shit, sorry, mind my French. But which is fine. I can eat an avocado and a piece of chocolate on a daily basis, but I have to switch it up as well. You know, different greens, different roots, eat beets, eat potatoes, eat sweet potatoes, eat red peppers, green peppers, and then begin to notice how the food affects you. You know, nightshades for me, for instance, like an eggplant, I can eat every once in a while, not my favorite, but I also know it doesn't suit me as well. If I eat garlic late at night, I don't sleep as well. My eyes are wide open and I'm howling at the moon and hanging out with the owls. And I finally figured it out. It was garlic. So better for me to eat garlic in the day. So that's just an example of how you really need to explore yourself. Coffee's another one. Some people can drink a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock at night and go to bed. If I drink a cup of coffee at 8 in the morning, my friends think I'm on crack or cocaine. So we really have to explore, you know, some people are healthy with it. And you know, it really depends on that microbiome. Even how sugar affects us. One person can eat a banana and that could shoot your glucose blood sugar high, and someone else could eat a banana and it wouldn't even affect it. So we're all so unique. And just remember, there's no magic pill, but there's no magic medicine for one. We really need to explore and find what's good for us. So next, we want to eat high quality fats and oils and butter. Fat is a magic one. You know, there were so many low fat diets, and that was one of the most dangerous diets we can go on. Your brain runs on fat. And there's a difference between the good fat and the bad fat. The good fat feeds your brain. You feel alive, you feel alert, you feel awake. And when you eat those low fat diets, you can't even focus. You need high quality fats to keep your muscles tight. The bad fats, deep fried foods, low quality oils, that's what gives, especially women, like that cottage cheese softness around the thighs. Your muscles get squishy. So fat is really key, and butter is fabulous. Butter is really soothing to the gut lining. You know, I don't eat too much meat personally, but when it comes to butter or ghee, I love it. My body loves it. And again, we have to see the amounts, too much, too little, but high quality fats. Some of my favorite oils are olive oil. There was a woman I was talking to, she's like 105, and she said the 3 things that'll keep you alive forever is eat good olive oil, eat good chocolate, and drink really good red wine. Red wine has polyphenols in it. But again, that doesn't mean we drink 3 bottles a night. We have a little here and there, and we check in with our body. If we wake up and we're not feeling clear-headed, obviously we had too much. So olive oil, coconut oil, walnut oil, avocado oil, these are all beautiful oils to use and to cook with. But the olive oil, remember, is not meant to be heated. So if we're heating olive oil, it's changing the properties and becoming a bad oil. So olive oil, you'd want to steam vegetables and add that on later. So eat the olive oil raw. But so really, I've sometimes, my dad's on here and they'll whine, oh my God, look how expensive this organic food is. You'll get like a small bag of food for like $150 at Whole Foods. And that's why you want to source that CSA. But it's like, you don't have a problem spending $200 on shoes or wearing that $300 purse. We need to get our priorities straight, you guys, because our health is our wealth. So spend your money on good food. Next, we want to eliminate processed sugar and processed foods. Again, the processed foods are loaded with pesticides. You can look at the ingredient list. If you buy an avocado, what's the ingredient? It's an avocado. Now, Jem was drinking some oat milk the other day, and I keep telling him don't have sugar, and he says he's not having sugar. And then we look at the ingredient list, and if there's more than 5 ingredients in something and you can't say the word because it's got 30 letters in it and you don't know what it is, you probably don't want it in your body. It's probably, it disrupts the immune system. We want to get back to eating whole foods, keep it simple. Back to simplicity, back to the roots. Seems like with quarantine, it's such a beautiful time to do that. We all have time to slow down and to really reflect on our habits and our career and see the things that aren't serving us. We have time to set new habits and new routines. It's such a beautiful time. And we're in Taurus right now. The sun is in Taurus, which is all about the earth element. So it's about the body. It's our connection to the earth. So, that's food. Anyways, I don't want to go too far off with that. I can get into astrology. I can wander away. So I mentioned processed sugar. Sugar is the devil. Almost all of my clients, including me, had an addiction to sugar because if you look at the ingredients, sugar is everywhere. And if we go back and look at our ancestors to ancient times, it wasn't as readily available. It was fruit on trees that would be up in the mountains and they'd have to hike for days. And, nature's magical. So sugar has properties in it that make us want to binge because we wouldn't always find it back in the day. This is the ancestors. So the brain and body would work to eat it up as much as we can of this sugar to hold us over to give energy because we're not going to have it again for a while. But now it's so readily available and it's in literally everything you eat, your kid's cereal, it's in your milk that you go to put in your coffee. Sugar sneaks into everything. And sugar disrupts the immune system. It lowers the immune system. It basically feeds any disease, any illness. Sugar is literally poison. And it takes a few weeks to detox from sugar and even take a break from fruit because even fruit can be too much. When we have a healthy microbiome, of course, we can handle fruit. Fruit is beautiful, full of nutrients. But when we're already on a sugar high and the body's running on sugar, then it's time to make a little shift there. So we really want the body to be running on fat as opposed to sugar. And about 99% of people were running on carbohydrates. So we get the sugar high and then we get low. And then we're so starving, we get like anemic and we shaking, then we get high and then we go low. And when the body's running on fat, it's more steady. So when you get hungry, think of fats. Eat, the olive oil. And here in Goa, we eat a ton of coconuts. The guys always want to pick up naan and paratha. That's the one thing about the Indian. They love their rice and paratha and naan. And there I am going, hey. No carbohydrates, let's eat the fat. So we just cut up a good coconut and chew on that, and that's going to do it. And for sugars, what's the best to choose is honey. If you can find a locally sourced honey, because again, nature's magical. So honey is different up in the Kashmir mountains of India than it's going to be in Boston. And nature gives you what it needs wherever you are. So you don't want to buy a honey that comes all the way from Mexico. I mean, sometimes there's quality shipped in organic ones, but if you can find a local honey that it's loaded with healing properties for your body. And then we can eat things like dates. and whole fruits for sugar to cure that. And another way, I won't go too into getting off the sugars, I want to get through this, but Jen was asking me the other night, how do we get off the sugar? So the body craves every type of taste. We have sour, we have pungent, we have sweet, we have salty. So sweet is very much natural to want a little sweetness in our life, right? And I, for instance, had one client who would literally eat a gallon of ice cream at night. And it was really because she was craving some sweet love. If she had a man to come home and hug her and kiss her and have dinner with a candle, then she didn't care about the ice cream, but she was craving that sweetness, right? So with sugar, this is one that's really tricky because I'd say that almost everybody have it. It really sneaks into everything. You really want to start to read those labels because it'll be in things that you wouldn't even imagine. And then it's a code word for it. And so you don't even know it's sugar, and it's disrupting everything. And it's a way bigger weight gain than fat. Fat doesn't make you fat. Carbohydrates and sugar make you fat. The bad fats, of course, if you're eating McDonald's deep fried, the bad oils, but we're not talking about those here. So we eliminate processed foods. And then I want to get to prebiotics and probiotics. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of these, but probiotics are what feed that microbiome. They feed the gut bacteria. And so you can get this from kimchi, cultured veggies. Every culture, you think of Russia, they ate sauerkraut. So a lot of cultures had some kind of fermented food. And in America, we've just really lost the plot with food, or American food has just really gone out the window. Even in Hawaii, it's hard to find good food in a restaurant. It's just junk, and it's overpriced. And you can even do coconut kefirs. If you do okay with dairy, you can have kefir. It comes from milk, and yogurt can be a good probiotic. So we want to make sure we're feeding that good bacteria. Sometimes we like to get those little pills, the little white pills of probiotic, and they'll say that they have trillions and trillions of probes in them, but sometimes they're dead because they're sitting on shelves for a while. So we don't want to rely on pills. We really want to get it from food. So eating whole foods is going to be key. Sometimes we use vitamins and minerals, and I'll get to that in a minute because the soil is depleted, but typically we want to try and get our vitamins and minerals from our food. And then prebiotics. What's a prebiotic? That feeds the probiotics in the body. So things like chicory root, leeks are amazing. We've got onions and garlic, especially eating garlic raw. So if you make pesto with raw garlic, that's a fabulous prebiotic that's feeding the probiotics in the body. So the body's a magical system, the digestive system. We take in food, it's got to break it down into usable energy, vitamins and minerals for the cells, and then it's got to sort out what we don't want, what we do want, and then it's got to eliminate the rest. So sometimes it needs a little bit of support. And the last thing I want to bring up about nutrition is we have to learn to love our kitchen. And my dad's on here, and Jem can see that, they're busy people, they're workers, they don't have time. My dad's yelling at me that he has to spend an hour in his kitchen now every morning before he gets out of the house. But that's your room of alchemy. That's the room where you make your health. That's where your six-pack abs come in. That's where your flat, healthy tummy. That's where you make it. Your kitchen is a magical place. And if you've been distant, if that's that room in the house that you barely visit, or you kind of run in there and grab something quick and run out of it, I really invite you to get more creative in the kitchen. Cook naked, put on your favorite song, pour a little glass of wine, make some herbal tea. Get new foods, exotic foods. Maybe you're bored with the food you're eating and you need to just be a little more creative and try exotic foods. Maybe you want to invite a friend over. Maybe you're not allowed in quarantine. Might have to wait till after that. But, make it fun. Explore how you can really enjoy being in your kitchen, because this is a really important key to our health. In India, a lot of I spend time in villages, and they don't go to a restaurant. They don't even know what a restaurant is. Food. They only want to eat their own food. There's so much. And, Jem mentioned love earlier, and it's, what do we all need more of? And it's vitamin L. When you cook your own food, you have music on, whether you're dancing naked or you have a friend over, whatever, you're touching the food. You're thankful for the farmers and the land, and you can connect to the earth in that way. And It's just a beautiful process, and and being present with that, as opposed to being in a restaurant and the poor cook is exhausted because he's overworked. He's been in there for 15 hours and his exhausted energy is going into the food. Not that he's a bad guy. He would love to give you love, but he ain't got any energy left. And he's probably got a bloated stomach too, so he ain't feeling good, and he needs to get back on the program because he's been eating junk oils from the restaurants. You know, not all restaurants are bad. I had a little cafe in Hawaii and we cooked fabulous food. But still, ideally, you know, 90% of your food you want to come from your own kitchen or your girlfriend's, you know, if you're lucky enough to have a girl cooking for you all the time. So some immunity boosting foods. I just grabbed a little list here for you guys so I know they said you guys like lists, and most Americans are so nutrient deficient, you know, because we eat on the run. The food is sprayed. We're not aware of the organic and the GMO and the pesticides. And, you know, the health industry is really, it's a money, you know, healthcare, it's really like, they don't really, it's not connected to your health. It's really a money game. There's pharmaceuticals. That's a whole nother dance we'll get into, or we won't get into today. But so here are some things that are fabulous for boosting your immunity. Lemons, citrus fruit, papaya, kiwi, bell peppers, berries. Berries are a fabulous superfood. Sweet potatoes. And you guys, eat your greens. Greens, anyone that knows me is I'm a green freak. Jem's constantly sending me a photo of Incredible Hulk, telling me he's going to look like Incredible Hulk turning green because I've got him eating so many greens. But if you knew the power of greens, you would want them at every single meal. I literally eat them for breakfast. You know, I don't eat cereal with milk anymore like I did. You know, I grew up on the standard American diet. It's SAD. SAD stands for Standard American Diet. You know, it's very, it's quite backwards, but we're shifting it. That's what we're doing right now. So eat those greens. They're loaded with phytonutrients. I mean, they're incredible to help support the body to detox. You know, fiber is what fills your brain. It tells your brain you're full. So fiber is what fills you up. It's those veggies. That pile of spinach will tell your brain you're full way before that pile of rice. And it's something we just have to wrap the mind around. You know, we're so used to, you know, when I go up in Calcutta, they're used to like a mountain of rice. I was like, oh my gosh, is that for the whole village? And it's for one person. I'm going to have a heart attack. And then they have a little bit of sabji, you know, sabji is veggies in Bengali. And I said, no, we need a mountain of vegetables and a little bit of rice. Because they all ask me like, how do you have no belly? Okay, well, let's follow a new diet. Less rice, you guys. So eat those greens, spinach, kale, dandelion greens. You can make herbal teas. Herbal teas, again, are a great way to, you know, dandelion tea. I got down on dandelion tea, so it's not always easy. They're really bitter, but you can make a tea, and it's just a fabulous way to get those nutrients into the body. Parsley, spinach, broccoli. You know, be creative when you cook with ginger, garlic, cumin seeds, coriander. Coriander is one of my favorite. If you haven't explored some of those Indian spices like cumin and coriander, I invite you to run to the store and get them as soon as we're done because they will change your life. And then, of course, turmeric. We have a cafe in Hawaii called Cafe Turmeric. Turmeric is an anti-inflammatory. It is a magical healing root, just like ginger. You can eat it raw. You can eat little bits of it raw. You can make tea with it. You can cook with it. You can get it in powder form. I prefer the root, but we use both. And it supports blood flow. They say that India has the lowest rate of Alzheimer's actually because of turmeric. So that's another one I invite you. You can make teas with it. You can do all kinds of things. Just get creative with it. So next we're going to move on to superfoods and supplements. So as I mentioned, it is best to get everything from whole foods. We really want to rely on foods to get our nutrients, but sometimes the soil is depleted and sometimes we need an extra boost. So right now during this pandemic, everyone's freaking out. So because the people that are really getting attacked, it's not always about if the virus gets to you, it's about how your body responds to it. So we want to have a really strong immune system so that we can fight it off if it comes our way. So the three major vitamins that you can be taking right now are vitamin A, vitamin C, and zinc. And I'll mention here a few foods that you can get from those. Vitamin A, we can get in eggs, fish like salmon and trout, butter. Butter is an amazing source of vitamin A. kale, all your greens, you know, I love those greens, and sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are another great way to get that vitamin A. Oh, I think what I was saying earlier, and I lost my train of thought, is when you're having the sugar cravings, things like sweet potatoes, you know, throw a sweet potato. I told Jem this the other night, throw a sweet potato in the oven, wait an hour, pull it out, cut it in half, put some olive oil, salt, and pepper, and it tastes like a sweet potato pie. It's, you know, it's one of the, and then it gives the body, it's like, it can rest. It had a little bit of sweetness, what it craved. So vitamin C, we all know where we get vitamin C. This is citrus fruits. Green veggies also have vitamin C, broccoli, kiwi, and then zinc. Oysters are some of the best. I actually don't eat oysters, but sometimes I think I should because of zinc, but they just look ooey and gooey to me. But I grew up on, my family's in love with them. But we also get those from beans, you know, and there's such a variety of beans you can eat. There's pinto beans, there's black-eyed peas, there's lentils, there's mung beans, there's split peas. I mean, they go on and on and on the list. And they're loaded with fiber, they're loaded with zinc, they fill you up fast. So remember to be careful with portion sizes with the beans, but they can really support you to lose a bit of weight if that's what you're looking to do. And one thing I do want to mention with beans is to make sure we soak them, because beans carry a lectin, which can be really hard on the gut, especially if we don't have a strong belly. So we want to soak our beans, and we can put them in water right on your counter. And then maybe in 12 hours later, you can dump that water out and put fresh water on. And this will help to release that lectin in there. And so you can get really creative. Beans are delicious. There's so many different varieties. And like I said, when you go in for the bulk, that's a really cheap way too. I mean, you can feed a whole family on beans and you won't spend but a few dollars. And then nuts also. Nuts have zinc. Seafood, other seafoods other than oysters. Oysters are just the best. I think they're just completely loaded. And then seaweeds. Seaweeds are a powerful food. So those vitamin A, vitamin C, and zinc are three beautiful vitamins that you can take to support your immune system during this time. And then I just wanted to mention a couple superfoods. And what is a superfood? It's a super nutrient dense, low calorie, high antioxidant food. And Jem, you've become quite familiar with many of these, like cacao. Cacao is an amazing superfood. But again, you want to be careful how much you had. You know, I just had a little bit of chocolate earlier today and it was 90%. So I was buzzing around, like bouncing off the walls, hoping I could ground a bit before I got on here. No wonder my shirt's on inside out. I can blame that on the chocolate today. But always go with dark chocolate. You know, those milk chocolates are loaded up with sugar. So you want to look at the grams. You know, when it comes to chocolate, it's good to go at least 79%. Or above. And then maca root. Maca root is a fabulous root that helps to balance hormones, actually. And so it really gives the body, it doesn't do a specific thing with the hormones, it gives you exactly what you need. So if you're not sure what maca root is, I invite you to explore that one a bit. And it comes in powder form, so it's really easy to add to smoothies. Or if you eat chia seeds in the morning, you can sprinkle them on there. Chia seeds are another fabulous superfood. Dark leafy greens, again, they pretty much fill in every corner. They heal everything. They've just got, I mean, I cannot emphasize enough the power of dark leafy greens. The darker the green, the better. So, you know, the iceberg lettuce that I grew up on and that is in restaurants in a salad isn't giving you much of anything. So it's fine to eat it if you love it for that crunch, but add it on top of some kale. And my dad had brought it up that kale tastes so bitter, he didn't like it in a salad. And a trick that you can do is cut up kale really small, massage it with olive oil and salt and lemon, and then add the other salad stuff like arugula. If you massage arugula, it'll break down and get ooey and gooey. But the kale, you can really massage it. You can lomi it and put extra love into it before you make your salad. So other superfoods, acai berries. Acai is a berry that the surfers found from down in Brazil. Maybe you've heard of acai bowls. They're quite famous in Hawaii. You can get it sometimes frozen. You just want to check again because sometimes they add sugar. It's a bit bitter, but it's great to add to smoothies. And they're loaded with antioxidants. Goji berries are another one. They're a dried fruit. So those have a bit of sugar, so you don't want to overdo it, but they're fabulous for, you know, if you go on hikes and you make a little bag of trail mix and you put goji berries and dark chocolate and maybe a Brazil nut. That's a magical food that you'll be stoked to have. I climbed to the top of a mountain in Bali one time. We slept in a temple and we woke up at 2 a.m. and climbed to the top of this mountain. It took 4 hours and it was literally straight up. They told me it was, but I didn't literally think it was. It's literally stepping a foot up with each step. I actually got sick and threw up on the way up. And the guys I was with wanted to turn around. I said, we're not giving up because of me. So we made it. And at the top, we had a little bag of dark chocolate, those goji berries. And it was like heaven to my body because I was like completely exhausted from this hike. And that just rejuvenated me. It gave me so much energy. And it was a really beautiful experience. There was one little monkey up there waiting for us. So we gave him some of our little treats. So seaweed and algae, we mentioned seaweed earlier. Seaweed is loaded with iodine. And, you know, there's a lot of people suffering from thyroid diseases. And a lot of times you'll go to the doctor and they don't know what's wrong. And they'll just tell you it's your thyroid. And many times that we are deficient in iodine, because the American diet doesn't typically have a lot of it. So seaweeds, algae, dulce, you know, you can find little shakers of seaweed, and it can be a salt replacement actually. And you can just sprinkle it onto anything you're eating, soups or sautés or your beans. And it's a great way to, I mean, it's a superfood and it gives you that iodine. Garlic is a magical superfood. Wheatgrass, all those greens. Ooh, my dad has fallen in love with wheatgrass over the last month. He's like a wheatgrass machine. And then turmeric again. Turmeric pops up on that list. So we'll move on to number 3, and this is managing stress. Now, stress is a killer, you guys. It limits the body's ability to fight off illness or pathogens. The digestion becomes completely compromised. And what happens is we describe it in the way of yin and yang. So within us, we have yin and yang energy. And actually, it's through the nostrils. With the left nostril, this is the feminine side. It's the moon energy. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system. The right side is the masculine energy. It's the sun side, and it's the sympathetic nervous system. So typically, you know, in our modern day, it's fast, especially if you're living in a city and, you know, it's that 9-to-5 job and you got kids and there's so much going on. You're constantly in that masculine energy. Masculine energy is go, go, go. It's get it done. It's that focused, and it's called fight or flight, and which is very potent. There's nothing wrong with it, you know, but we need a balance of the two. But what happens to the digestion when we're in this sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, is that the oxygen and blood are diverted away from your digestion. The body actually produces less enzymes, less saliva, and less stomach acid to break down the food. So you can think of back in the old days, you know, they're pretty relaxed, and then maybe the man's out hunting for food, and all of a sudden a big tiger shows up. So now he's in stress, and so the body contracts. So what happens? All the blood, instead of finishing to digest his breakfast, it needs to run out to his limbs so that he can get fat. You know, you notice you run faster if you're running from a cop or if you're running from a bear. All of a sudden you just have more energy because you went into that fight or flight, like I'm going to die in moment. And so your digestion is compromised. So then when he finally makes it back to the village and he can rest and digest, and the blood goes back into the belly, the body will continue to digest his breakfast. But in this fast-paced society, and we're constantly in this go, 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 or even if you're eating lunch in a rush, you can see how that's really compromising your digestive health, which is going to lead to so many other things. So I invite you guys to really take self-care seriously. You know, sorry, Jem, I keep using you as an example, but he messaged me at like 6 a.m. and I was like, what are you doing on your computer already? Did you get up and do your meditation and your yoga and your dancing? And, you know, we got to be careful that, you know, we're doing so much giving, and we have to remember to slow down and to receive. That giving energy is that sun energy. And when we sit down and receive, that's the feminine, and that's when we rest and digest our sleep. You know, people that can't sleep at night, it's because they're in overload of sympathetic nervous system. Even we're on the computer, there's so much energy blasting at us that when we finally turn it off and try to lay down, the brain is still firing, and then we can't sleep. So, you know, you go into the health food stores nowadays and you'll see the supplements for sleep have completely, like, they weren't there if you looked like a decade ago. But now it's just like there's an extensive line, because I even have a client who's literally 28 years old and a yoga teacher, and she has sleep apnea and has to sleep with a machine on her. And so it's really potent to understand the nervous system and understand why it's so important to drop into that parasympathetic nervous system. And that is where That's the feminine energy. That's the receptive. That's the creative. That's the spiritual and the sensual. You know, you think of an artist. You know, I think of my mom in her garden, and she's just weeding away, and she's just in this, you know, you can call it the zone. Abraham Hicks will call it the vortex, and you're just in this magical space of receptivity where time and space don't exist. You know, when Jem is playing his drums, and it's just like everything else just disappears, and you're in the moment of receptivity. So self-care, you guys, it is essential to the health of your immune system. Remember, everything is connected. So a few things we can do here for self-care is yoga, meditation, taking a bath with Epsom salt, using essential oils. You know, smell is such a powerful sense that is overlooked. It's connected to our root chakra. And we mentioned the Muladhara, the root chakra, connection to the earth. And just by simply smelling a flower can lift you up and can change your mood and can change your energy. So use, you know, you might have essential oils laying around your house. Well, go get them and use them. Put them in your bath. And when you make a bath, put your Epsom salts in a bowl and pour the oils on the Epsom salt first, and it'll help it dissolve better in the water. So then we can listen to other things we can do to manage our stress is listen to healing and calming music. Some of my favorite is to listen to like Indian flutes or Native American flutes or simple mantras, or even Jem. Jem has some really magical music. If you need some good music, he can send it over to you. Trying to get him back inspired to get back into that magical spiritual man that he is. But he's got this music that, you know, just listen to it for 5 minutes and all of a sudden it can take you to another space. You know, you're in your heart and you're present and your mind relaxed, and now you're in that rest and digest state. Other things we can do, one of my favorites is walking in nature. Hence why I grew up in Maryland, but I ran away to California right after college. My parents wanted me to get a job, and I just wanted to learn how to surf. I ended up in Hawaii with a backpack, a skateboard, and a tent, and never looked back. And so nature is some of my true healing juice. As Jem mentioned, we went on hikes. So getting out in nature. And I know it can be trickier in Boston, in the cities, but there's ways that you can buy more plants, have more plants in your house. You know, they produce more oxygen. Maybe sit by your plant and talk to it and rub its leaves and feel it and get your hands in that dirt. In Boston, there are beautiful, beautiful parks. You know, walking distance from Jem's house, I would go for a walk and I found a bench. I would sit by a tree, and just a few minutes out in nature will invite, just by being in nature, your body naturally will take those deep breaths. You know, you're in a house, you're in a square box, you're in a room, so you're confined by walls. And when you go outside and you have the big blue sky above you and trees, everything becomes more expansive and deep, including your breath. So be creative with ways you can be in nature and getting that vitamin D. Maybe you have to sit by the window at noon, even though it's 30 degrees, and just let that sun hit your face for a few seconds, because vitamin D is another. I just wanted to mention that here in India, we're in Goa, there are 6 million people here, and we have 0 cases of corona. We had 7, and all of them have healed. And it could be the heat, because it's literally 97 degrees. So it's hard enough for us humans to survive. So I bet the virus doesn't. But it's also the immune system of these Indians. They've got immune systems like a rock. You know, if American comes to India, it's guaranteed you're going to spend a couple hours in the bathroom at least once. But you don't hear about Indians coming to America and getting sick on the food. You know, it's like they've got rock solid immune system. So there's something to learn about not being so extra clean. You know, get in the dirt, get in the soil, eat clay. Other ways that you can manage stress is reading a book. Maybe you've got books on your shelf. I can see like 300 books behind Jem. You know, pick up one of those books, read a book. It'll take your mind off your daily worries. Or you can write in a journal. Writing in a journal is a fabulous way to channel some of that energy. Just really be creative and look for what nourishes you on a really deep level. That's what we're looking for. So next, number 4. We're on number 4. We're going through 7. I hope everyone's still hearing me. We're all there. Healthy sleep. So sleep allows the body to rejuvenate, to heal, and to reset. And it's like clockwork. So there's a certain time that's why when you travel somewhere, like when I go across the world to India, it like takes you a few days to reset, because literally at certain times there's different organs that are resetting. So it is actually really key. How many of you are night owls out there? You know, and you're just like, oh, I'm meant to be up at night. Well, actually around 10 p.m., we naturally get this another boost of energy. Maybe you notice it. It's like, oh, you know, at 9:30, you're kind of ready for bed. And then your friend comes over, like, we're going out dancing tonight. So around 10, you're like, woo, all of a sudden I got a boost of energy. Let's do it. Well, you're actually running on reserves. So it's not really healthy or natural for, you know, look at the animals. They're up with the sun, they're down with you know, there's a few of them up at night, like the rats and the owls, but typically a mammal is going to be up with the sun and down with the moon. It's rest time. So it is actually key if you can get your body horizontal. When your body, you know, when we're standing up straight, things are flowing in a different way. When we begin to lay horizontal, the blood, everything can balance out more evenly. So it's ideal to try and be horizontal by 10. And that helps us to really honor those natural rhythms and to align with nature. And then, you know, it's like we can be eating all the greens we want, drinking celery juice, doing wheatgrass, meditating for an hour. But if we're only sleeping for 5 hours, it's impossible to be healthy. You're not allowing that digestive system the rest. So forget your greens and just sleep. Sleep is so important. Like, I can't emphasize it enough. One of my yoga teachers, he meditated in a cave in India for 9 months. He traveled India for 40 years. He's a little old guy, but he basically reminded us that we sleep a third of our life. There's 24 hours in the day, and a typical person's going to sleep for 8 hours. So that should show you right there how important and essential good, healthy sleep is. And so he would tell us, he would tease us and be like, so are you just going to go to sleep and let your mind go wherever it wants to go? We're like, well, do we have an option? He's like, of course you do. It's your energy. So you can start, you know, I really invite you, instead of just turning off your computer and going right to bed, or a silly movie and going to bed, or especially leaving a TV on and falling asleep. Oh my, don't do that. But you could put on little gentle music, like some of Jem's magical music, you know, something like that, that helps you to drop into the theta waves of the brain. And you can set a little intention. I've actually done this and it works. You know, you set an intention that maybe you want to answer to some question. Maybe you want to work out some issue. Maybe you're having an issue with someone at work, or you need clarity on something. So you can say a little prayer, set an intention before you sleep, and it's quite magical what'll happen in those dreams. So, you know, some people don't remember their dreams, and it's really key to be connected to our time of sleep. It's really a sacred time. We go into the spiritual realms, and our unconscious and our subconscious are at work, and so much magic can happen there. And we can do a lot of healing. And I actually had a guy break up with me through a dream, and I knew it was done. Like, my dreams are literally that clear, and it's very powerful. You know, we wake up and I was like, oh, I had a little cry, and I was like, all right, moving on. You know, guess it wasn't meant to be. He told me I was too much of a firecracker. I said, fine, I guess you can't keep up anyways. So again, turn off those phones and that Wi-Fi. You know, especially in cities, you're bombarded with radiation waves all day long. And so I have a rule in my house that there are no phones allowed in the bedroom. Keep that room a sacred room. You know, if you want to watch a movie, go out in the other room, and keep that room for making love and for dreaming and for connecting to that spiritual realm. It's a really, you know, the more you can just go to sleep, or you can go to sleep with intention. You can just cook, or you can cook with intention. You can eat, or you can eat with intention. And intention is very powerful. Wherever your mind goes, your energy flows. So the power of the mind is quite potent and should never be overlooked. And so if you're having trouble sleeping, sleep issues are definitely in correlation with the gut. So I invite you to explore your gut health. How's your belly? How are your energy? And then maybe you notice, okay, Saturday night I slept good, but then Sunday I didn't. So maybe look back at your patterns. What did you do differently? Maybe it was something you ate. Like me, you know, if I eat chocolate late, I would never drink coffee after like 9 a.m. or I wouldn't sleep, but you have to see what does it for you. Maybe you ate too late at night. You know, it's really best to allow 2 hours after your last meal before you sleep, so that instead of your body having to digest while you're laying horizontal, it can be resetting and rebooting, and you can go on those magic missions that you intend to do before you lay down. So turn off your phones, turn off the Wi-Fi, turn off the modem in your house. You're still going to get blasted by all the other houses around. So don't worry, you're getting hit. So at least turn yours off. And then we can use those essential oils. I really love essential oils. They can help you to sleep, that gentle smell. They work at the cellular level. So you can put a little, even just on the bottom of your feet or on your wrist or the back of your neck, and they can help you get a yummy sleep. The last thing that helps with sleep, I would say, would be to drink chamomile tea, to find a nice herbal tea, obviously not black tea. Deba made me a green tea this morning that felt like black tea because I was buzzing. I was just buzzing too much today from tea and a little piece of chocolate. That just shows you how sensitive our body becomes once we go through all these cleanses and really get the body, we tend to numb ourselves with food and with alcohol, and we want to give space for those things to arise. And especially during this time of this quarantine, we're noticing a lot of emotions arise, and we're not able to stay busy, and so when we slow down, things start coming up. And instead of it being a really scary time, it's a really beautiful opportunity to heal and to let those things come up and to breathe into them and to acknowledge them. And, love is space. So love that part of you. Every part of, we have good, the bad, the ugly. We have so many essences to ourselves, and we don't have to pretend that we're always perfect. Jem tried to make me look like this magical angel, but I'm not perfect. We're perfect in our imperfection, let's say. But, we're all here to learn and to grow and to support each other. And so I really just invite you to explore your habits and to, when emotions come up, to sit with it and to allow yourself to feel instead of numbing ourselves and suppressing it down. And that comes with emotions. It comes with, it comes in relationships. It comes with food and cravings and all of the above. So number 5, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. So I would say 100% of my clients are completely dehydrated. And the best way that it works in my mind to understand it is you can either look like a raisin or a grape. If you're completely drained of water, our body's made up of 70% water. So water is very necessary for things to flow. And if you think about that 30-foot journey where we talked about the digestive tract, you can see it like pipes. And so, as we eat, things don't always flush down perfectly. So things get stuck in the sides. Maybe we have a little overgrowth of candida or fungus or mold or parasites, and they're building little cities in there. But that's a whole nother story where we need a more intense detox. But the more water is going to flush that pipe, a pipe sitting there that barely only has a little water trickling down, it's going to get a little moldy and funky in there. So when you flush, you want to think of like shooting like what do you call that thing? A power washer. And you shoot that thing down. So I'm not saying to sit under a power washer and drink that water, but to really be conscious that you're getting enough water. And I think they say that you should be drinking half your weight in ounces. I think over here in India, we need to drink like 3 times that because we're kind of sweating all day. It's like living in a sauna. So you really want to but just try to be conscious of water. One of the best things you can do when you first wake up is to warm up some water. Warm water is really soothing to the digestive tract. So warm up some water. I always like to squeeze a little lemon. Maybe you add some dandelion leaves or a tea bag of your favorite kind, and just a huge glass. You can do 16 to 32 ounces. So already you're starting your day like that, because dehydration can support and lead to many illnesses. So drink your teas, drink your water, and just think we want to be like a grape, not a raisin. Okay. So that grape, when we're full of water, we're softer. The skin is softer. We're more vibrant. We're more, what's the word? Fluffy. What's the word? You guys get what I'm saying. We don't want to be squeezed up like a little raisin, right? That's where we're going if we don't drink water. So number 6 was nature, and we kind of already mentioned nature. There's doctors in other countries that actually prescribe forest bathing, and forest bathing is when you go sit in a forest and sit by a tree and just be and just breathe. Human being, we're meant for being. We're constantly doing, and that's the gift of this quarantine, is that instead, we feel like when we're sitting, we have this, even if we try to sit and meditate, our mind is saying, oh, we should be doing something. It's like programmed in, and that's what we're trying to reprogram. We want to do more of being. So being out in nature really supports that. I'm an ocean mama. Maybe because I'm so fiery, I need that water to cool me down and keep me balanced. But I swim in the ocean daily. I sit by the ocean and I just listen to the waves, and that sound is very soothing to my soul. So nature helps us to drop in again to that parasympathetic nervous system. So that's going to support your digestion. It's going to support your creative juices to awaken, your sensuality, your spiritual connection. So it is so important to be more in nature. It helps us to breathe deeper. It helps us to become more calm. We're more relaxed. And then it fills you with energy. So it's like filling your tank. You know, we got to fill our cup. We're out with empty cups trying to give. But how can you give with an empty cup? We got to sit down and fill that cup. So we really got to take time to ourselves, sit in nature, find those things that really nurture you on a deep, deep level. And it changes, you know, it changed. Maybe yesterday it was dancing around the house to music. Maybe today you just want to lay on your back in Shavasana, do 2 stretches, and that's it. So it's going to change daily. Depends on what you've done that day. If your work was sitting down all day long, then maybe you want to go home and get a little movement and dance on, you know, put on your favorite song. Jem loves to dance to Madonna and, you know, those old 80s dance songs, and it's fabulous. But maybe your work is stressful and you're running around all day with 300 appointments and you're too much moving. So then you need to come home. You don't need a huge workout. Maybe you need to sit next to your plant and talk to the flower that's budding, or you need to go for a little walk outside and get some fresh air. So a few things that you guys can do. I know that you guys are there, and we Jem. So nature, you know, we want to walk barefoot on the earth. There's a pressure point in the bottom of the foot that touches every part of the body and the organs. So walking barefoot is extremely healing. You know, your shoe's more flat. So you hit from heel to toe, and it's not really stimulating the body and the digestion like it could if you could walk barefoot. Now, I know if it's cold where you guys are, it's not necessarily possible to do that. But again, you take what works for you and you leave what doesn't. You always can buy more plants, go to those parks, plant a garden. Maybe you can join a community garden. Like, there are some amazing community gardens, and it's a great way to make connections and to meet more community. And then I was in Boston, and Jem took us on this amazing adventure to the countryside. I forget what it was called, Witches Creek or something. Of course, we went to Witches Creek and we sat and meditated. But so sometimes you can jump in your car and go for a ride and, you know, find a little lake, find a little forest, and just be present, just be with your breath, be with nature, just observe how beautiful nature works in harmony. All the animals in nature all work together, the elements. You know, in yoga, I was trained as a tantric yogi, and we do a lot with the elements. So I'll just mention that really quick because it really changed my life, and it was super powerful for me. So the earth element, you know, say you wake up in the morning or you're out and you can explore what energy do you need. So I don't feel grounded. I'm too much in my head. So then that's the earth element. You want to work with the body, with the earth. Even things like eating root vegetables will help you ground. Well, if you feel stuck and you can't make decisions, then it's the water element that you want to play with. You know, water goes with the flow. If it bumps into something, it doesn't sit there and wonder for an hour which way to go. It just flows. So if we feel stuck or emotional, we can play with water element. And it could even be taking a bath. It could be sitting in silence and listening to rain come down on a meditation. And then so the air element, air is more movement, it's energy and vitality. And so if we feel a lack of energy, we can play with air and play with breath. I think that we all saw in the beginning of this, even if you're not a big meditator, how powerful the breath is. Just by a few deep breaths, you can really shift your energy. So you could just sit and work with the air element. And then the fire, you know, you think of a fire, it goes up. So you think of your inner soul like your fire. So what feeds that fire? What nourishes your soul on a deep level? We think about if we have a bonfire, we have a lot of bonfires at the beach. And if you don't throw a log on that fire, what happens to it? It dies out. It's passion. It's just like a relationship. It's, you know, you're sitting on one end of the fire and he's on the other, or she's on the other. And you both have to continue to throw logs. I'm sure we've all been in a relationship where there's only one person throwing those logs on, you know, and then or nobody, and then the fire's dwindling, and then you wonder why there's a divorce later. Well, we just have to keep that fire going, and it's in a relationship, it's within ourselves. So if we lose the passion in life, if we lose that ambition, our passions, that's when we want to work with the fire, and that again connects with the belly, with the core chakra. So that's just a little glimpse of elements and how you can work and play with those, to even lighting a candle. I love to light candles and to connect to that fire element. We have enough fire here with that 100-degree weather every day, kind of overloaded with the fire at the moment. I've been dreaming about running around in snow naked, but you got to check in with where you are and what's working for you. So the last thing we'll get to today is exercise. Exercise regularly. Exercise is like the magical elixir in life. It's free. You know, I mean, you can join a gym, but you can do it at home. It magically calms you down, and it also gives you more energy. So it gives you just what you need. It increases blood flow. We have stuck energy. Sometimes we're in our head, something's been bugging us. And if we just turn on music and dance, we can turn on a workout on you. I mean, there's billions of free workouts on YouTube. We have no reason, we have no excuses not to work out. And maybe we're too busy before, but now that we're in quarantine, what a beautiful time to really set in motion a new habit and a new routine with exercise. It is really correlated to helping people with depression. You know, it is way better than any pill. Exercise will support that digestion. It gets the blood flowing. It cleans out toxins. So there's 5 major detoxification organs of the body. We didn't really get into those today, but the largest is your skin. So when you exercise, you sweat, you release toxins through the skin. And that was partly why I had so many skin issues. I had so much toxicity in my body that it wasn't able to get it all out other ways, that it needed to come out of my skin. So it was literally these dead bugs coming out of my skin. I had eczema covered on my face and my shoulders and my neck. I literally looked like a monster and couldn't leave my house for 4 months. And the healer that I had been working with mentioned to me, you stopped working out. He's like, you do yoga, but you're not working out anymore. And so with exercise, there's 3 different zones that I've heard a guy talk about that made sense to me. And zone 1 is just walking, and it's a light breath. And zone 2 would be a little bit of huffing and puffing. And then zone 3 is like you're working up a sweat. And so you really want to get into all of those zones. Walking is fabulous. Do it every day. Don't stop walking. But you do want to do something that'll get you sweating, that challenges you. Work your muscles and keep them tight and keep them toned. A strong body is a strong mind. And so little things you guys can do in the city. What I was thinking is like in Jem's house, he's up a few floors. Instead of I'm scared of elevators. Maybe that was part of it. Claustrophobic a little bit. I'd watched too many movies like Speed where everyone got stuck in elevators. So I was like, yeah, I'd rather just take the stairs and I'll get some exercise too. Work that booty a little bit, you know, lift that booty up. So you can take the stairs instead of the elevator. You can park further from the store, you know, so that you have a few extra steps to take. It'll really start to make a difference. You can maybe walk to the store. You're in the city. I loved that about being in Boston, is that I could walk to so many places, and walking is a fabulous way to get some exercise. Maybe you can get a dog so that it forces you to have to go for a walk, or you can walk your neighbor's dog. So you can think about little ways that you can incorporate getting some more exercise into your routine. So those are the 7 things that I had for you guys today to really boost your immune system. And, you know, the last thing that I just want to say is that, you know, that this really is a magical time on earth. And I know it seems really detrimental. There's people that are going through a lot of troubles with health and with economy and with finances, and there's so much fear of what's going to unfold and what's going to happen. But it's really a powerful time that we're taking back our power. We don't need to give our power away to the system and to the pharmaceutical companies and to the FDA that's been running our health and our food, that really doesn't care about us. You know, it's time to take back our power and get to know our farmers and to live a lifestyle that elevates our frequency to that of love. Maybe you've heard of 3D, 4D, and 5D. And it's, you know, my name, I go by Air in Aquarius, and I named myself that many years ago. And actually just in last March, we came into the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius is about enlightenment. It's awakening. And so this powerful time, I'm getting the chills just saying it right now, but this is a time of awakening. And so beyond the fear, beneath all of this emotional turbulence that's happening, this is a time of awakening. And so it is essential to be healthy, to take care of your body, to elevate your thoughts, to be careful of those thoughts that you engage in. We can't always control the thoughts that come. They're like clouds, but you do get to control what you give your energy and attention to. So something might come and you just flick it away We don't like that one. We don't have to go down those dark roads of unrealistic realities. We can create the new world and a new earth where there's thriving communities and there's no more people hungry. There's no reason why anyone should go hungry on this earth. And that's why it's such a beautiful thing what Jem and them are doing, because as we mentioned before with the chakras, you know, the root chakra, you have to start at the base to move up. So for someone that is hungry, how can they be creative? How can you expect them to be in their heart? How can they be awakened and connected to the spirit if they're hungry? As a human being, our needs need to be met. They're survival needs. And so food, by feeding somebody food and by feeding yourself healthy food, you're doing so much more than just feeding yourself food. If you know what I mean, it's a way to really elevate and take life to the next level so that we can, you know, live our potential, our birthright to thrive and to shine in that bright light. We're all little lighthouses. You know, you can imagine these lighthouses going off. Last thing I'll mention, I did this amazing meditation. I just wanted to get off the earth for a little bit when all this happened. And I ventured up in my mind to planet of Venus. And I sat in this garden of amazing roses of colors I'd never seen before. And there was a river of this purple and pink water that was like silk. And the bottom of the water was lined with, what is that pink stone? It's a pink, that heart stone. And I was like, wow. And I went and picked up that stone and I set prayer and intention in and I put it back down and I sat and I was playing with the roses. And then I looked up and said, what's happening on earth? And when I looked down on earth, I saw this giant gray cloud around earth, you know, and I saw it was like this virus and this pandemic and this bio war, and they want to control the economy and blah, 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 down the rat hole. But then I saw some of those clouds start to disappear, and beneath it were all of these little lighthouses, and those were souls. Those are you guys, those are me. And it's time for us to elevate and really be in our light and to shine, and we can't do that without our health. So it's time for us to take our health seriously, and that will really support your creative energy, your sexual energy, your mission, your career, your relationships, your community, and this beautiful earth that we live on. We're so gifted to live on. It's a really powerful time. I believe that we chose to be here, and we all are a part of this awakening and this transformation. And so thank you all for showing up today. Thank you, Jem, for having me. You know, showing up is the hardest part, and I know it can trigger some things, and just sit with whatever comes up and just love yourself deeply, love every aspect of you. The more that you love yourself, the more you can love others, the more others will love you. We want to live on a thriving, loving earth. So thank you guys so much for bearing with me. I think I went a bit over, but we do have time for questions and answers for anybody that wants to say or ask anything.
Aaron, I'll probably be speaking for everyone here. I'm thinking right now to myself, what good must I have done in a past life to deserve this hour and a half here? Like, I can't even believe what just happened here. It's just amazing. I'm getting private messages from folks who are elated, sending me messages about you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are deeply grateful. And we have some questions. So let's go to the questions. So we've got lots of them. Feel free to write them in. So do you have, Aaron, a cookbook from Diane and Bruce? Do you have a favorite cookbook that you would recommend? Holistic remedies for menopausal photo flashes. Best place to buy fresh spices are supermarket bottles or spices. Are they effective? Are supermarket bottles of spices effective? She takes B12, D3, where she's deficient, and omega-3 opinions. How do you wean children, teens off sugar? What does that mean? How do you wean children and teens off sugar?
Okay, hold on. Let me start with a few of those.
Sure.
So your spices from the stores are fabulous, you know, especially in the organic store, because again, we want no pesticides. So going to Whole Foods or any little local organic store, those are fabulous. And when it comes to the herbs like parsley and cilantro, those you want to have organic, because those little green herbs are definitely going to be heavily sprayed, loaded with those pesticides that are going to kill us. So yeah, with herbs, you don't have to, or spices, you don't have to be as crazy. I mean, I love to go organic. For me, I'll go broke if I have to, spending all my money on food. So I prefer organic, but you can use what you have. B12, for me, so one thing I didn't mention is that what I do, when I work one-on-one with people, I work with people for an 8-week period, and I do intuitive scans, and I scan people's organs and their blood cells, and I check what is low and what is high and what they're deficient in. So it's hard to just say take a specific. I prefer personally to take an all-rounded B vitamin. But if B12 is working for you, try to really be present with it and notice what it's doing. Maybe take a day off of it and then see if you noticed a difference. Because vitamin B is very important. It's very essential, and it can be hard to get that from food. The third question I remembered was children off sugar, and that is really key, and that's a beautiful question, and this is what we really need to do, because this is our future, right? And sugar, they've snuck it into all of our kids' food, and it's horrible. So you first of all need to get rid of all the candy from the house, because if you're the mom, you get to choose what you buy. So you don't take them to the store with you and let them buy Snickers bars and things like that. But you wean off slowly. So when you take something, especially you see from a kid's mouth, if you take a lollipop out of his hand, he's going to cry, and then he's going to reach for something else, and it could be worse. So you want to start giving them fruit. Things like sweet potato. Sweet potato is one of the best things that you can use, because sweet potato will curb that craving. And to really get rid of a sugar craving, it takes about 3 weeks of detoxing from sugar. And so a lot of times what happened to me, what happened to a lot of my clients as well, is that overdose of sugar, it's affecting the blood sugar, it's affecting the pancreas, and it leads to what is called candida, if you're familiar with candida. And candida is basically a fungus. And you think about a fungus in the woods, it's like it comes, if a tree falls down and dies, the fungus comes on to break it down and give it back to nature. So when you start to have too much buildup of fungus, the inside the body thinks that it's dying. And so it starts to eat itself away, if it makes sense. So sugar is fungus. And what needs to happen there is focusing on a really alkaline diet, a lot less acidity. So what is acid? Dairy. Cut out some of the dairy. Tomatoes, spicy chilies, a lot of carbohydrates and red meat. That's going to be acidic. Alkaline foods, load them up on greens. Make them smoothies with blueberries so they get that little sweet taste. But another good way to start the day is not with sugar. So when we give a kid a sugar cereal in the morning, what's on our tongue we crave. So in India, they use this tongue scraper, because Jem ate his pizza this morning for breakfast. No, I'm kidding. But if he did, the flavor, it stays on the tongue for days. So then in 5 days, he goes, oh, I'm craving that pizza again. And it's because it's on the tongue. So in India, they laugh at us, because in America, we brush our teeth, but we don't brush our tongue. So they have these scrapers. And so that's a really powerful way to clean out some of the junk. But what you want to do is breakfast time, you don't want to start out with sugar, because that's already starting them on the sugar high, and then they're going to go high, and then they're going to come back down, and then they're going to crave more sugar. So you want to start with more of a savory breakfast. So fill your house with, and fruits that aren't so high in sugar would be like apples, but apples you definitely want to have organic. Blueberries and strawberries. Oh my gosh, you guys, strawberries the number one. Never eat a non-organic strawberry. One strawberry has like 50 pesticides in it. It's horrible, because so many bugs love to come and eat them. So definitely only eat those organic strawberries. But so, you can buy berries, grapefruits, apples, pears. Those are some of the lower sugar fruits, because even a banana is kind of overload in sugar. So it's better to start with a savory morning. And so it really depends also on how far along the kid is. So I hope that helped with your question. And then, cookbook you asked. I've never used a cookbook.
Erin, you're writing a cookbook with that amazing, delicious food that you make. You're about to write it for us.
I've been having people, we opened a restaurant, and my husband is literally an Indian chef, and he became 5-star very fast. He is a magical, magical chef. And I'm kind of the health nut with must be organic. So I buy all the healthy stuff, and then he cooks it. I make I'm the big salad raw girl. I love my raw food. But so I wouldn't know with the best. What I would do is explore in the health food store, and you want to read the beginning of the book and make sure that they're conscious and not just like a Betty Crocker. They're going to be using too much margarine. You know, when you open the book and you read, it says something like soulful eating, and then they talk about connecting with earth and nature and some of the things I mentioned today, then you'll know that it's on the same vibration, because you want to get a book with someone who wrote it on a similar vibration of connecting with earth and with farmers. But I will in the future have one coming out. We actually have been working on it, but I don't have one yet.
Thank
So
you.
did I get to,
Yeah,
did I get to,
sure.
okay.
A question about I believe it's D3, but there were two other questions that may be related, may or may not be related. One of them is how to push the body towards more of an alkaline composition. And also there was a question about, do you have a diet or regimen that can cure type 1 diabetes?
Type 1 diabetes, we can definitely, that would, you know, if I did a scan and saw what was up, I absolutely could. That is like stay away from sugar, get away from carbohydrates for a while, even take a break from fruit. You know, again, it's like I specifically look at a case and I see exactly what's going on. So I give them a specific protocol. But when it comes to diabetes, it's obviously an overload of sugar. So we really need to get away from the sugar. So when you asked about acidic and alkaline, so at the root of many illnesses, you find an acidic body. The bad guys have taken over the good guys. And like I said, they're building houses. I always feel like when you're eating your greens, you're sending in like an army of the good guys to take down the bad guys, you know, that are trying to build houses in your body and steal your energy. Are you still hearing me? Look like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So things that are acidic, dairy can be really, when you're trying to bounce back to health, if you're lacking in energy, dairy, it can be really detrimental on the body. So milk and cheese is really addictive. It's as addictive as sugar, and it's more addictive than cocaine. So cheese is a tricky one. Jem can tell you all about that. So getting away from milk and cheese, these are very acidic. Anything from an animal is going to be acidic. Carbohydrates, over tamasic things, if you're familiar with Ayurveda. You want to eat more sattvic foods, so whole foods, lots of herbs and spices. And then one of my favorite ways to start my morning is with lemon water. So even though a lemon seems acidic, when it goes in the body, it supports your body back into alkalinity. And so starting your day with that, it also changes your tongue. You know, you can wake up in the morning and have a piece of sweet fruit, or you can have sugar cereal, or you can drink that lemon water, and it literally changes your morning and it changes your day. Other things for alkalinity, I constantly those greens. Greens are completely alkaline. Veggies, except peppers. Peppers and tomatoes can be a bit acidic. Tomatoes, if they're cooked, they're a bit better if you're working on that acid alkaline dance. So stay away from dairy, stay away from sugar, try to eliminate carbs, and definitely no more processed food. You don't want to open a bag and eat food. You want to eat a whole food. You want your fridge to be full of fresh veggies, nuts and seeds, you know, lean meat. If you're going to eat meat, there's nothing, I'm personally not a meat eater, but if you are, then I invite you to get free range meat. You want to know how it's grown. I don't know if you've seen any of those freaky videos on, it's worth watching. But you know, if you go to a CSA, like I was saying, an organic farmer, you're going to have these chickens running around happy. They are beautiful skin, and they're chasing each other, and they're boinking, and they're living a nice life, and they're plump and happy and healthy, and they're eating clean grass. Well, the typical chicken, if you go into Safeway or a normal store and it's not organic, those chickens were cooped up in cages. They were anemic. They're sick. They weren't treated with love. So everything is energy. So that animal that had that life, that energy is coming into your body. I mean, it's already, an animal is, you're giving yourself a dead energy, right? By a dead animal. But for some people, meat works, and so you do. And so, you know, like I got my dad, I'm like, if you're going to eat meat, just go to the organic store, source your meat wisely. You want to start to know where your food's coming from. Don't just, you know, you're too busy, so you just eat anything. You really want to be conscious where it's coming from. So you want to limit meat, limit dairy, limit carbohydrates, sugar. That's number one. And then eat your greens. You can do superfood powders like chlorella, wheatgrass, alfalfa. My dad's doing wheatgrass. He's You know, he's never been into greens, and all of a sudden he's obsessed. He notices such a difference doing wheatgrass shots in the morning. So you can get a juicer. Fruit juice is fabulous. I really invite you to stay away from fruit juice. Sorry, veggie juice is fabulous. Fruit juice has way too much sugar. And, you know, when you eat a piece of fruit, it's got fiber in it. So your body breaks down the fiber, so it slowly takes it in. But when you just chug orange juice, it's like 20 oranges you're shooting into your body, and it's loaded with extra sugar. I mean, they already add sugar onto it, so it's just too much for the body. So sugar, dairy, and another one that is pretty dangerous and that really threw me off was soy. And soy was a cash crop that they planted during the war, and then there was too much soy. They didn't know what to do with it, so they decided to make an oil with it, and it's really bad for you, and it throws off the thyroid. And so if you ever have thyroid issues or hormonal issues, I would really take a break from soy. And that's another issue with eating at restaurants. I Googled all the healthy restaurants in Boston and told Jem where he was allowed to eat because they use good oils. They're conscious of the oils. If you go to a restaurant, they're trying to keep low cost, charge you high prices, and they're using vegetable oil, and this is completely made from soy. So that is another one to stay away from, is the soy.
Thank you, Erin. Question, if we have time. Stephanie asked, my husband takes turmeric for inflammation, astragalus to bolster immune system, and glucosamine for joints, as recommended by my sister's nutritionist. Is that good?
Well, yeah, turmeric and glucosamine are fabulous. I would also, you know, pills are great. I would also look in the organic store and get the real turmeric root. And, you know, you can chop it up in a little, use it just like ginger. You can bang it, or you can chop it up in little pieces and throw it in your water and make tea. You can even take little bits and eat it raw. So I would also add the raw turmeric into your life. It'll be a life changer. It's completely different from the pill. The glucosamine for joints, that's fabulous. The turmeric will help with the joints too. Also, when you're having joint issues, it's probably a lot of acid in the body. So again, your husband, I don't know if it's the same person asking, maybe a different person. You also want to be careful with the acid in the diet. You know, add more greens, add more veggies, be conscious to eliminate a little bit dairy, a little bit of meat. You know, all the same things I had just mentioned for the previous question, because joint issues are definitely typically the body's acidic. And what was the first one I heard?
Erin, actually, you've mentioned acid, sugar, and ailments in one breath several times before. What is the relationship between sugar, acidity, and say ailments such as cancer and many others?
Well, sugar literally feeds disease, whatever it is. It lowers the immune system. It makes the body work in overload and stresses it out. So any issue, any illness, sugar is going to cause it. Sugar is literally like poison. You know, they figured out how to grow it quickly, and actually it had a big thing to do with slavery. So even the energy around sugar is quite dirty, you know, and they would buy out islands and they were used for sugar, and it's a really, really ugly thing. So sugar completely relates. And then an acidic body, acidic body is just a breeding ground for disease. And then the sugar promotes more acidity. So an alkaline body is going to have more of the good bacteria, more of the good guys to fight it off. But Jem, the one lady was asking, and she asked about glucosamine and turmeric, but I don't remember what the first one you asked was.
Glucose. Actually, Stephanie, are you here? You can speak up. Stephanie, you can unmute yourself. Okay, so she says,
hey Jem, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Sure, hi.
Erin, thank you so much for all this amazing feedback. This has been a really brilliant session, and I'm just really privileged to have spent time with you this morning. What my husband was advised to take was something called astragalus, and I wasn't sure if you had heard of that or what your thoughts were on that.
Astragalus.
Maybe it's a brand name?
I think
it's not a brand name.
I think it's an herb.
No, it's an herb. Yeah, it's a part of a plant. Hold on, let me look in my little encyclopedia. It's definitely it's part of a plant.
Diane and Bruce, I love how Diane put astragalus all in capital letters. Yes, astragalus.
It's a genus of over 3,000 species of herbs and small shrubs. So it's basically a categorization of, you know, herbs and
and belonging to the legume family of such and such and the subfamily of such and such. Largest genus of plants in terms of described species. So it appears to be.
I think it's used a lot in Chinese medicine, actually. So yeah, that's an herb. Like that couldn't hurt you. Things like that you couldn't overdo. I would just really check in with the diet, because obviously something in the lifestyle caused him to have joint pain and be acidic. So by taking these pills will help to keep it at bay, but we really want to look at the lifestyle and the eating habits that are causing the acidity in the first place. So that's really where the magic is going to be.
Yeah, agree. Thank you.
And there was
You're
a
welcome.
question about greens and olive oil. Thank you so much, Stephanie. There's a question about greens and olive oil. Lua, do you want to ask the question? Go ahead. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hi, thank you, first of all, for having me here. Because I'm not a raw eater. That's why I've always said I don't eat veggie salad, and I cook everything. But when you mentioned about olive oil not getting the benefits when you cook it, so I do a lot of cooking, but we only use olive oil, and all the greens I just cook it. Does that give us the health benefits still?
Yeah, it's because there's different body types. So some body types actually don't really prefer raw food at all. So if you feel good on cooked food, you absolutely still get it. Just keep eating those greens, put them in your soups, put them in your sautés. That you're still getting it for sure. Maybe sometimes you can eat like a cucumber raw just to get some raw enzymes. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with my body being vata pitta Ayurvedically. Like I love my raw, but it's also I get too airy fairy and I'll fly away. So I need that grounded food. And then thank God my husband cooks all this really Indian food. They cook the hell out of everything. So yes, you're still getting all those benefits from those greens. And you also could play with sometimes getting a green juice. Every once in a while when you go out, just order a green, my dad gets one called a green monster. You can get a celery juice, so you still get some of those raw enzymes. But yeah, nothing wrong to cook those greens, and just make sure you keep eating a ton of them. And then the olive oil. So olive oil really shouldn't be heated. If you're cooking on low heat or in the oven on low heat, then it's okay. But once it hits a certain degrees, it's killing the good properties of olive oil. And olive oil is like true medicine. So what you can do sometimes is like a coconut oil is good to cook with, or a walnut oil or avocado if you're going to cook on high heat. So as long as you're cooking on low heat, that olive oil is good. Otherwise, say you're making like a soup, then after it's cooked, then you can pour the olive oil on so that you're getting those benefits.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lua. So
You're
Diane,
welcome. It's pretty where you are.
Diane, do you want to ask the question about you being 55? Congrats, by the way. You made it thus far.
Jem, this is awesome. Aaron, you're terrific. You have such a great, calm delivery. This has been a great morning, and thank you, Jem, for doing this. So yeah, that's my question. I am continuously, since I had my first child 16 years ago, I am 30 pounds overweight, and I've been struggling terribly to get it off. I can't seem to be consistent, but it's more, it gets to the point where it's not about vanity, it's about my health. And so what was my question? I wrote, is it too late for me? I have young kids and need to live forever because I have a very happy, fulfilling life, but I'm not my best self as far as my physical and healthy being, in my opinion.
Thank you for sharing and being so honest and vulnerable. And of course, it is not too late. Oh my goodness, are you kidding? Look at how much energy you have. Look how vibrant you are. It is never too late. And it's really about making, sometimes the excess weight is really because there's something deeper going on, like a fungus or a candida or a parasite, which is causing, some women can eat so little calories and seem like they keep gaining weight because of what's going on between the skin and there's like a layer of fat that we can't get to because the body is acidic. So I would really, so it's definitely not too late. And it's very true. It's not about vanity. It's about feeling amazing and being able to live our dreams and being able to live to see our kids and our grandkids and to go travel and do those things that we want to do. So I would invite you to just really be conscious of maybe you'll be the lucky one that gets the call with me and we can look and see what's going on in there. And we can talk about like what you've been eating, but it's definitely not too late. Never give up. Try to be really conscious. You know, I gave you a lot of good tips today. So try to really be conscious of the acid in the body, of the alkalinity, you know, drink a ton of teas, drink more fluids. And one thing I didn't mention today was snacking. It's really imperative not to snack between meals, because say I eat my breakfast, my body's digesting it, it's making its way down, and then I go and have a snack a half an hour later. Now the body's like, oh, okay, stop digesting breakfast. Now I need to go up and break down those little nuts she just ate. So it really is a weight gainer. It really slows down the digestion when we snack a lot. So we don't want to be snacking. You want to eat your meal and take your break. You know, in India, they don't snack. They eat breakfast, they go to work, they eat lunch, they take a nap. There's no snacking happening. It doesn't. I remember my.
I don't want to overtake this conversation, but I think one of the best things you said today was learning to love your kitchen, because while I spend a lot of time in my kitchen, it's to rush and make a meal for somebody. It's to rush and get dinner on the table. It's to rush and get dinner done with so we can get to the next activity. And I think that's just the American lifestyle in general. And as a realtor, we run with kids, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult and not practical in many ways to do what you're saying, even though intellectually it's very important. It would really be a struggle, I think, to listen. It's progress, not perfection, but it's really so true, I'm sure, for many of us on this call, that to do what you're saying and to eat leisurely and make that lovely leisurely meal with wine and love and music is just like, it sounds like this ideal that we would never achieve in the week-to-week, day-to-day lifestyle that many of us, I think, live.
And I totally hear you on that, because my lifestyle is so different. And what it comes down to is planning really well. Like, it has to be planned. And so things like, you can throw beans in a pressure cooker will take you, my dad's been complaining about how much time he's spending in the kitchen too. You can throw beans in a pressure cooker and you have enough leftovers for tomorrow too. And it's easy. You don't have to do much. All you have to do is chop them. Maybe you set aside one day a week for just chopping veggies and keep them in the fridge. Just like you plan for work and set up for your appointments and plan for your clients and all of that. As we said, our health is our wealth. So it's something that we got to, not every night you can put on the music and dance like that. Some nights though, you just have a more simple meal, to cut up a few veggies and steam some veggies, throw on some olive oil, and eat a boiled egg. It really wouldn't take that long. So it doesn't always have to be a fancy meal. It's really getting back to the basics and just making sure we're getting those veggies. Even fish. I mean, how fast can you cook fish? You put a little oil, throw it in the oven. So it doesn't have to be a huge process of a fancy meal. We really just want it to be simple. And, even if you only have 10 minutes to do it, you can still put love into it. And it's really about making your health your priority. So I understand that it isn't like you can't do it. And right now you've got time because, you're on quarantine. And so you can really get creative with how you can plan better. Whether it's, I had a client who basically hired somebody to come to her house twice a week and chop veggies for her, because she realized it was too hard. She was eating out all the time, but she knew she wasn't going to get healthy and be her vibrant self if she was eating out all the time. So she hired somebody to come to her house twice a week and just chop the veggies for her. And then when she was ready to cook, they were there. So there are always options, and we explore. But it's about making that health priority. And again, simple stuff. It really doesn't have to be so fancy. Like my husband, he's like this fancy chef, and every meal it takes him so long. And it's like, it doesn't have to be this fancy. Like I saute some cumin seeds, I cut up my veggies, I throw them in. It takes 7 minutes to saute veggies, and I have a fabulous meal.
And Aaron, to that point, if you're complete, I'd like to chime in and say something to my beautiful colleague and my wonderful friend there. Well, first of all, Diane, you and I get to talk. One of the things that I did recently with my team at work, and I'm in real estate as well, for those who don't know, I told them that they won't be seeing me until such and such a time in the morning, that the morning time is all mine, because for me to show up as the best leader that I can be and to be in contribution, I get to take care of myself. I get to put the oxygen mask on myself So I'm showing up the best energy possible. We start our team meetings of 5 with 3 gratitudes each. It used to be 1, it's now 3. It takes up most of the meeting. But you know what? We get to know each other. We get to replenish each other. It's all about care and love. My team members are here. They can speak to that experience. And I've had teams before, they all fell apart. I had 3 team members walk out on me within a month apart. And I had assistants who never wanted to work with me. They were just sort of resentful. Because I wasn't showing up as the best version of myself. And I realize that now. I've had, arrogance and self-righteousness. And one day I asked Erin, I said, Erin, why am I so angry? I'm so angry. Sometimes I'm angry and I don't even know why. She said, oh, that's your liver. That's your liver. Your liver's on 30%. I've scanned it. It's your liver. By the way, the highest donor from today is going to receive a complimentary full-on scanning session with Erin. I'll tell you, it's priceless. It's going to change.
How high do I have to go, Jem? I need to know right now. How high?
Look, she can tell you, I've paid thousands of dollars for her service. She can tell you. The thing is, she asked me.
Jem, I'm sorry to hop in. Right now, it's $200. We have a $200 donation so far.
We do have $200, but you know what? I'm telling you, I paid. She can tell you what I paid. But guess what? She didn't say. She said, this is what my coach is telling me that I should offer my services for. What was it, Erin? $7,000 for your 8-week program is what I paid, and that was with
yes, and through coronavirus, I'm now offering it at $5,000 for the 8 weeks.
There you go. Then that was with a discount back then, and so I gladly, lovingly paid, because one other thing that she did for me is that she said, if you're on a budget, if you're unable to pay, Jem, I will work with you. I didn't say it wasn't like I love this person. So I said, no, I'm not on a budget. I can afford it right now. There was a time when I couldn't. I almost declared bankruptcy in 2011 and 2012. Stephanie Jacobson, my wonderful CPA, for those of you who need the best of the best of the best of CPAs to protect your taxation, your money, your wealth otherwise, she can attest to this. I went to her. I was in a desperate place. My life has completely shifted and turned around now. It's about the priorities, the leadership that we're in, the program that we're in. Many of us are here today. I see Melinda, Shuan, et cetera. And Melinda, I'm going to get to your question in a minute. They've told us the other day something incredible. They said the results in your life are direct evidence of the choices you make. I'll repeat, the results in your life are direct evidence of the choices you make. So whatever the results are, we can look around the room, we can look at our houses, we can look at our whatever houses we have, business houses or other houses, they're in direct correlation with the choices we make. And we get to prioritize, whatever that means. Do we choose an extra couple of sales here? Do we choose to sort of have 1,000 people know us? Maybe we only need 30 people to know us. That's okay. We get to choose. So it's awareness to choices to results. That's the formula, and it never fails. Awareness, which we're all aware, then we get to make choices, then we get to results. So I see
some questions on here. Yes, can I get to those?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Melinda's question. Melinda, could you kindly
wait? One question. There's another one here. What about Anastasia's before that?
Okay.
Is Anastasia still here?
Anastasia, are you here? Anastasia, my love, beautiful Anastasia. Anastasia Kronk, are you here?
Jem, Anastasia had to get off the call.
She had to get off. Okay. She's an airline employee.
Okay, so because she asked about nuts, and I actually, sometimes peanuts and macadamia nuts and cashews can be quite moldy. And so anything that is, typically when we have allergies, it's because there is an imbalance in the gut. So if they're causing her, I would definitely stay away from them. But it's usually a sign that there is some dysbiosis going on. And then Rosanna asked about liquid supplements. I actually really, really love liquid supplements. Whenever I have my clients on protocols, the liquids I feel go right into the system. It's easier than breaking down a pill. So if you can find the liquid ones, I think that is fabulous. AK Dinster's question was, what oil do you recommend for cooking with heat? If you're going to cook on high heat, I would use coconut, avocado, or walnut oil. Again, the olive oil is one of my favorite, but keep it raw. And then Melinda's question with the tooth and sinus infection. Cloves are fabulous. If you could get fresh cloves and make tea. Also, infection, without a scan, guessing, something called golden seal. So I don't know how long you're waiting for this oral surgeon, but I met a lady who literally got bit by a cat and they gave her surgery when we could have used golden seal to heal it. So golden seal is a magical, magical thing. It comes in a tincture. It's liquid. It's pretty crazy taste. I would take 30 drops of it 3 times a day, as long as you don't weigh too much less than, you know, if you're closer to 150 than 100 pounds, I would take about 30 drops. If you're only like 100 pounds, then maybe just make it like 20. But so average 30 drops 3 times a day of golden seal. And it's a natural, it's a natural, it'll kill infection, it'll kill bad bacteria, because obviously there's some bacteria going on in there.
Okay, thank you.
And that you should be able to find at like Whole Foods. So it's called golden seal, and definitely I would use the liquid one. So 30 drops 3 times a day. And you can message me. You guys can find me on Facebook. You can let me know if anything happens with that. I'm Erin Aquarius on there. I have a, yeah. And so let's see. Any other one? Okay. Can we have parasites? Is Ali still here?
Ali, are you here? Yes, Ali's here.
Yes.
Unmute yourself.
Okay. So I had no pain really when I had the parasites and candida. Like, I was carrying a worm for 6 years. I pooped out a 6-inch worm. Sorry to be so straight up. So when he got so big, you know, he was like sucking my energy. By then I felt like the ball in my belly, and I'd get bloated after food. But I mean, I'd wake up, you don't always have pain. Jem actually had parasites and candida, and he didn't have pain. His side effect was the acid reflux. So the thing about, you know, the main things that are taken over the gut are going to be candida, which is fungus, parasites, mold, virus, infection, or bacteria. Those are the main things that are taken. And those are basically at the root of almost any illness, you know, and they'll give you a pill and it'll slow down so intuitively I knew I had parasites, but I was okay. I didn't feel that, like, I mean, it slowly got worse. Everything slowly got worse. Like, I didn't even, you know, you don't even realize you don't have as much energy as you could have, because it's just slowly going down. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I can't get out of bed. I feel like shit. Or all of a sudden, you know, the first thing I noticed is the hair didn't grow. So it's just like, you'll notice little things. A lot of times with parasites and candida, you will start to eventually notice some kind of skin thing, some kind of itchy stuff, or little rashes. Definitely a sugar craving. A sugar craving is usually a pretty good sign that you've got one or the other. So yeah, it won't always give you pain in that way. Someone asked about kelp. Kelp is fabulous. Any kind of seaweed I love. And again, just always, you know, just see it as an experiment. Like, eat it and see how you feel and play with it. And maybe like a year ago you didn't like something, but maybe you like it today. Chlorella is one of my favorite things. I could take that every day for the rest of my life. My body would be happy. I have a little funny story about that, because I take a powdered chlorella and I mix it in water and chug it. And so I told my dad, it doesn't taste that good. So when he got his chlorella, his came in pill form. So he thought that meant you had to eat them. So my dad was eating like 8 little chlorella tablets, like chewing them up, and it tastes like poop. And he's eating it with his food, and he did it for like a week. And I was like, oh my God, you're such a champ. And he's like, you said it tastes bad. I go, well, I drink mine in water. If it's a pill, just swallow it. But that was pretty funny. Do you have opinion why kids have nut allergies? So literally allergies and sinuses and even snoring comes from gut dysbiosis. So there's something going on in the gut that would cause allergies. And oh, yay, joining us, CSA. That's fabulous. Diane and Bruce, amazing. Yes, they're fabulous. Look around, say hello to your farmers. What are we gonna, I mean, especially now, right? Getting to the priorities and the roots. What would we do without our farmers? What do we do without food? That's why what Jem and them are doing with feeding people, it's beyond just giving someone a meal, you know, it's really a beautiful thing. I think that was the last question. Is anybody else?
Hot flash remedy from Diane. Hot flash remedy. What might we have there?
Oh, hot flashes. Are we going through menopause? Again, that is going to come back to the gut stuff. So if the gut is out of balance, so really try to sit and reflect on your diet. Like, are you eating, I explained what's acidic with cheese and milk and a lot of meat and tomatoes and sugar. So if you're eating a really acidic diet, there's going to be something going on there. So really try to go to alkaline, and alkaline food is more cooling on the body. So hot flashes are heat. So if you can see my tongue like this, you put your mouth out like this, like in a circle, and put your tongue out and slurp through. This actually cools the body like this. And suck in. It'll actually make your body colder. What are you laughing at, Ali? Just try it. So that'll actually cool your body down. You know, you can eat more cooling foods like cucumbers, and I would say definitely the alkaline for that one.
Awesome. MCT oil, Aaron? MCT oil?
MCTs, yeah, that's fabulous. Yeah. And again, explore how you are in it, because I 100% believe in bio-individuality. Even if something's fabulous for me, I have seen that it didn't work for one of my clients. Something that worked for my client didn't work for me. So yeah, if it's working for you, I don't see anything wrong with that one. I answered the one about sugar. I just saw a question that I didn't get to. Oh, best tea instead of coffee. I love to switch up my teas. Black tea has a lot of caffeine. In India, they make amazing chai. I love dandelion tea. Dandelion wins my vote with everything. Dandelion is got those bitter greens. That'll help. Also with the hot flashes, that's a fabulous one. That'll help alkaline. All the people that asked about alkaline, dandelion tea is a magic one. So I always do green herbal teas, and I like to switch them up. Just make sure, you know, if you're getting ready to go to work in the morning, you might not want to drink a chamomile tea. It might put you to sleep.
Aaron, Ollie had a question about the quality of our coffee, mixing things with coffee, and the keto diet. You've always talked to me about the quality of things, right?
Yes.
The organic, the coffee, the chocolate, you know, the things that we like in small quantities that are good for us. What about coffee? We love coffee and tea. What about the keto?
So coffee is a bean, and it's natural, and it actually has a lot of healing properties in it. But what happens is, like, say you go to Starbucks or McDonald's, or my dad, I had to get him off of Dunkin' Donuts coffee. The process of the bean, they're stripping out the good part of it. So it causes a lot more acidity. So coffee is another thing that's very acidic. So if you're starting your day with coffee, and then with milk and sugar, those are 3 acidic things. And then if you have pizza for lunch, bread, cheese, and tomato, you just had a whole acidic day. Like, you know, so you need to go home and eat like 15 pounds of greens to balance that out. So with coffee, you definitely want to get organic. You want to get a high quality coffee because it's processed different, and it's got the full, you know, even when you get vitamin C, sometimes a pill, they strip out parts of it and you're not getting the full vitamin. So with the coffee, if they're processing it right, it can actually be very healing and good for you. So I would 100% only be drinking organic coffee. Dad, I know you're hearing me on that one.
Aaron, thank you. Thank you so much. We'll get back to the other couple of the questions, but Brian, can you, since we've talked so much about nutrition and food and eating and nourishing our bodies, which we're declaring that from here going forward, we're going to make tremendous adjustments in our diets to actually achieve the results that we're looking to achieve in our lives, in all manner of our lives, not just in the physical body, but in our spirits and our souls and our contribution. Brian, can you please talk to us about the impact that our team has had, the impact that these wonderful folks are now having on Loving Spoonfuls and what it means to our community and the world? Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. First, I would like to thank Jem and Aaron. It's been an amazing morning, so thank you so much for that. And I just wanted to know, Loving Spoonfuls is a food rescue service mission, and they supply food to over 160 organizations, whether they're homeless organizations, crisis centers, people in recovery, child services, after-school programs, senior centers, veterans affairs. The only need is that if you need food, they're there. They rescue 75,000 pounds of food a week on average, and they turn that into 30,000 meals, healthy meals. They rescue fruits and vegetables, milk, all sorts of things that are perishable, exactly what Aaron was talking about. And ultimately for COVID-19, they have rescued over 500,000 pounds of food, and they've served over 200 to 250,000 meals. Our leadership group B3 has been part of that. We have helped with over 200,000 meals in the last 30 days, and any donation you make, $1 saves 6 pounds of food, and it's 3 meals for people that otherwise would not have it. In the last 4 weeks, their need has risen by 250%. So because of our supply chain has been falling apart. So anything that you can do right now is at the highest impact it has been since the inception of Loving Spoonfuls over 10 years ago. And because of everyone in this group, everyone who's donated, many thousands of people are still alive today that would not have been because of everyone's effort. So on behalf of the entire team and Loving Spoonfuls, I want to thank all of you for your contribution, and any further contribution you can make right now saves lives. So thank you very much. I'm complete. Jem, I'm going to send it back to you. Thank you so much.
And Brian, thank you so much. One of the other things that we've had is Brian negotiated a corporate giving. So imagine this $70-some thousand that we've raised. Imagine that's actually going to be matched. It's going to be doubled, to going from 200,000 to 400,000. So this past month, we've actually impacted 400,000 meals. And that money coming from a corporation could have gone to, I don't know, the Pittsburgh Ballet, which is also a great cause. But at this time, the need is dire. The need is urgent. There were multiple news in the media, people saying we're not going to die of COVID, we're dying of hunger. Countries, communities, and it's here in the United States. And when we started this program, we said, geez, it's the midst of COVID. Some people are losing their jobs. There's a sort of, and we got into our own minds, we got into our own heads rather, and thought scarcity. No one's going to give, people aren't going to give, let's declare little, maybe we'll raise $5,000, we may raise $10,000. And then we said, what the heck? Let's just declare it and go for it. And we exceeded our expectations. We were going to be at $50,000. Over 1,000 people came out pouring and saying, look, I will give. And people have said, thank you so much for making us a part of this giving. It is so good to give. There is nothing like it. It is so good to give. When we shift the fear into love and contribution, everything shifts. And when we are in need, and it is said that every person is 2 simple choices away from needing that same food, right? It's so true. 4 out of 10 Americans do not have $400 put aside to tap into, this is a Fed study, to tap into in case of an emergency. The need is so big and beautiful. Imagine, folks, as you're giving, I would like you to imagine something, that your name tag, $10 feeds 30 people. With a matching donation. $100 feeds 300 people. If you give $1,000, Brian, how many people is that? You do the math. 3,000 people with the matching donation wearing your name tag in their hearts. And it is not just food, I reassure you. It is the fact that they matter. It is the fact that they are worthy. It is the fact that someone whom they've never heard of, some stranger somewhere out there, has cared enough to give. And they are eating, they're feeling worthy, that they matter because of who you are as a human being. That's the beauty of this all. Thank you.
What's next?
Awesome,
What's
Jem.
next, Jem? Come on. Don't leave us on a high like that.
What's next? Any other questions, folks? Feel free to raise your hands. There's a raise hand button on the Manage Participants. You can click on there, or if no one's speaking, feel free to sort of chime in. And do you have a pressing question now? This is not going to be the end of Erin. She's not going anywhere. She's available on Facebook, on Instagram. She is an amazing human being, as you have seen. And guess what? You are all amazing human beings, as you have just seen. You've just sat through a 2.5-hour seminar, webinar, an interactive event, talk, meeting, whatever you want to call it, and you have been soaking it up. You're still here. You guys are all amazing. Like, I'm so fired up right now. I just want to go out there and just, I don't know, hug people, but I can't hug people. So I'm going to.
You're awesome, Jem. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Your energy is just like, what do you have to say, Dad? You're muted.
Yes, let's hear from the source.
Dad's on here.
I'm just trying to figure this technology out, but I just want to say, you know, a lot of this Aaron's talking about today is basic common sense, you know, and I thought over the years of studying, Aaron, you've done in the last 20 years of all this, I think you put on one hell of a performance. And I will donate $100, providing that I can figure out the technology to do it. So good job, Aaron.
Brian's happy to connect with you, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely. We will support you.
He's
in
not
that,
on Facebook. He probably doesn't know how to check his emails.
We thank you for feeding 300 people.
Yes, absolutely. 300 people. How cool is that? How cool.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And guess what?
Thank you, Dad.
Guess what? It doesn't stay with 300 people, Bill. You know what they do? One of those people is going to be a Martin Luther King. One of those people is going to be Nelson Mandela. One of those people is going to be Edison. One of those people is going to be whoever your hero is, whoever brought you light. Or is there going to be a Tesla? They're going to be someone who gave us light. And they're going to impact others. It's the ripple effect. The $100 goes to 300 to 3,000. That's why Aaron asked us to imagine going from our houses to the city, to the state, to the country, to the planet, and beyond. It's just incredible, this is. So I'm posting the charity GoFundMe site again. It's going through my site. Everyone's going to get notified as to who the winner is. And there it is. You can also donate through Brian's site. And he and I will compete and then wrestle when this is over. Brian, accept the challenge.
Absolutely, Jem. You and me, we're buddies, 1-2 punch. And right now, $250 is the top donation. So thank you. We've raised over $750 this morning. So Aaron, Jem, everyone on this call, thank you so much. Rosanna, Juan, all the members of B3 who supported this call. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
More than 2,000 meals will be served because of this during COVID-19, during a difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. You've asked for a book recommendation.